To be honest, this is a very successful protest. And let me tell you one thing. This is the beginning of the protest. Going forward, this is the resistance that has started. How is it a resistance? People were discouraged to come to the streets, and people have come to the streets. We've seen the youth, even vachifamba pamupata werufu, mapurisa manga muchiona zvaanga achiita, but they're still there. They're still fighting back. Vari kudirwa mategas. We are seeing them. And someone was saying, it's just 20 people. If it is just 20 people, why can't you just ignore 20 people? 20 people have no effect. How can you be worried of a toddler who is scratching you in the name of fighting you? If the number is small, do not make announcements. If the number is small, why are you bringing all those machineries that we are seeing? If the number is small, if you have such big budget, those police officers that you are seeing, that's a big budget for 20 people. Zvafana kuti une mombe 1 and uri kutambirisa mukomana anochengeta mombe iyoyo $500 a month. It doesn't make sense. So business is not as usual. And ndoda kutaura vamwe avo. Sorry ango GEZA, ndaitizvinzwa. That is not violence. When you are smoked and kana munhu wakachidzwa, iseit academic perfume ka tear gas. Tear gas kana risati rakandwa zvinhu hazvitomboita heat up. Rinotooneka mweya karo tear gas kanoita kuti mite manyukunyuku. Ndo pamunozotanga manje kurova inonzi resistance. Ndo pamunotanga manje kuita ushingi if the tear gas has been put to you. So that's the beginning of the struggle. As I learned, ganingwemba hangu kambo kangu kandofarira ndova ndadzika zvangu ango GEZA. Amai nababa musandicheme kana ndafa nezanu, ndini ndakazvida kufira nyika pamwe chete nevamwe, kumbirira kumudzimu tifambe zvakanaka. Kana tasvika mustreet ine zanu, MNANGAGWA chibva, MNANGAGWA chibva, MNANGAGWA chibva. Tinobva tatobuda misodzi. Thank you, Ango GEZA.
Thank you very much. There's something, that was interesting, that Wopo you said. What I wanted, to interrogate him further, on that one, but just right. Anzi Emerson Mnangagwa akatumira nhume kuti dzinotaura naGEZA. Varakasiyani vazvinzwa izvi. But GEZA turned him down, or turned them away. I wonder what was the nature. I wonder kuti izvo vanga vari kunotaura kuti chii. If GEZA is not that important, why would you want? Ndofunga ndo dialogue iri kutaurwawo naminister.
Plus musakanga kuti GEZA akati MNANGAGWA knows where I am. Saka vanhu vanogotumirwa kumunhu kwaasiri kuzikanwa sei. He knows where he is. So GEZA anga asinganyebe.
Yeah, pakaipa. Zvacho. Mawan. All right. The guy.
Uncle, there's something that I wanted to acknowledge. Yakataura na thing na Wopol, and then others will come in. I will quickly acknowledge it. Akataura nema spaces. And people sending messages. Thinking, accusing us of doing wrong things and etc. So I received a number of inboxes. Vachitaura kuti we are creating a bad image about our country. And I think munhu wacho Murakashi akashandisa, one of them akashandisa fake name. anonzi tofara chenyika. Anzi rubbishing your country is not about creating authentic news. The far-right movements are turning the ground on which you are standing upside down while you preach hate over your own land and country of birth. Geopolitics is shifting the paradigm, and this is going to disappoint a lot of people stuck on seeing everything bad and nothing good about their nativity. Just saying forward. So, this is just empty noise. They're trying to accuse us of whatever. But we are exposing the things that are wrong about our country. So we want the best for our country. Are we going to keep quiet when vanachivayo vachiita zvinhu zvisina musoro vachingotora mari dzenyika using them anyhow, and it's only a few hundred people that are now in control of that country? Those that are supposed to be looking after this country, they are across the globe. They've got talents akawandisa kuti if a leader, a good leader was leading our country, they will be in our country empowering our communities at etc. So I think hopefully, yeah, that point that you raised, kuti pane varakashi, and we shouldn't listen to their empty noise. So yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight. We are getting so many inboxes, so we don't care. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Mr. President, Mr. President, how are you doing? Mr. President. Okay.
Another thing, Uncle, let's follow each other. Those that are in this platform, I think we're of the same mind. Please follow. Please follow me back. I will follow you.
Right. Some would have.
Hello, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. No, I think this is a wonderful moment for the country, and let's hope this actually transforms into a movement like everybody is hoping that things develop and go further. I just have a question for Hopewell and maybe other journalists on the platform. If you remember Martin Luther King, when he wrote his 95 Theses against the Roman Catholic Church, and he went and stuck the thesis on the door of the Roman Catholic Church, even though he didn't have the power to actually, kick out the system, but he had his facts put together. So I think that's dropped quite a few names. I'm wondering, are there any dossiers that can actually be used out there as theses to start, putting pressure on, the incumbent government? Because just dropping names and protesting alone will not necessarily, produce the results that we're after. But I think as a follow-up on these protests, it would be wise, if there are dossiers and pieces that can be, put out there. Right now we have social media and all sorts, and it could be a campaign that's literally started to get this whole thing moving. So I'm wondering what type of intelligence, is out there that can actually be used as pieces and dossiers to actually put more pressure. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's quite an interesting question. I'll give Oppo the opportunity not to respond to you because ndo my journalist guys. This one ngotongoita yechibububu guy. Together with yechibububu guy. Criminal legends guy my streets. Right. Okay. Tyrene. Oppo I'll bring you in a minute. Tyrene. Tyrene. Okay. Chivunga. Can you guys hear me?
Uncle.
Yes, we can hear you, Uncle.
Yeah, guys,
They're ghosting you.
the people are requesting the mic. They come on the microphone and they don't speak.
Pakupisa vanhu vanenge vakutya.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, actually, I'd come up because Ndandawana Hopewell, and I wanted to get his sense about this protest, what the prospects are for opposition, because for all purposes and intents, we know that this is an internal ZANU-PF fight, but as opposition, we are very keen to contribute. And one of the things that would really be key, if there was an opportunity for us to also get some kind of benefit, what does it see as the prospects of opposition gaining from this internal ZANU-PF fight? I'll be very interested in his opinion about that. Thank you very much.
Okay, over to you. We've got those two questions. One about any intellectual dossier that can be used for highlighting or conscientizing, about the situation, that is going on in Zimbabwe, and then this issue of prospects that has been asked by my brother Shining, right there. And then if you can elaborate more on the what was the purpose, or what did they what was Emerson Mnangagwa trying to do by sending his people? So it's over to you.
No, thank you so much. I think in the first one on dossiers, the dossiers are on our timelines. We have been reporting about corruption for the past 7 years. It's all there. There's nothing new that we need to look for. We know what the problems are. Hospitals are not working. 2,500 women die every year giving birth. 3,000 women die from breast cancer because there are no radiotherapy machines. People are dying from easily treatable diseases. There's no clean drinking water in our homes because dams have not been built. We are still using Rhodesian dams built in the 1950s. Lake Makruwen, which is now called Lake Chivero, was built in 1952 for a population of 300,000. It's now serving over 4 million people. So we know what the problems are. Unemployment, and yet the government focuses on propaganda, paying people to come on social media and trash anyone who is trying to enlighten people or to expose corruption. And the second question, I don't see this as about an individual, as I've said before. This is a cause for Zimbabwe. Let's stop looking at individuals. Let's look at the cause. The cause is about a corrupt president who has destroyed all public infrastructure, who has stolen billions of dollars, who throws journalists who expose his corruption into prison. Right now, we have got Dara who's in prison because of that corrupt president. That does not require an opposition member or a ZANU-PF member to know that this is wrong. There are good people in ZANU-PF. There are good people in the opposition. There are bad people in ZANU-PF. There are also bad people in the opposition, some who collaborate with this regime. So let's not look at it as a traditional opposition thing. There's no traditional opposition in Zimbabwe anymore. So if it means the opposition that is going to stop the looting is going to come from within, if it means the opposition that is going to stop the violation of the constitution and extend the presidential term or get a third term for himself, so be it. I said yesterday, Uncle Jack, that what would you do if you were drowning in a well and your enemy comes to help you? Would you say, no, I don't want your help because you are my enemy? I only want to be helped by my friend. This is where we are now. It's a reflection of what I've been talking about for years, and I've been bashed for it. I've been slandered, defamed. When I was saying the opposition needs to step up, this is about a vacuum that was created by not having a traditional opposition which is structured. So when you don't have a traditional opposition that is structured, nature doesn't like a vacuum. GEZA has become that person who is doing what we expected from our traditional opposition. This is not the time to be pointing fingers. This is the time to just focus on what needs to be done. If a ZANU-PF guy is fighting to stop 2030 and is passing through my house and is thirsty, I'll give him water to drink so that he continues the fight that he has embarked on. That is where we are right now. The choice is, would you rather Mnangagwa goes to 2030 and say we shouldn't support the internal guy who's fighting to stop that? Is that what you would want? The opposition in Zimbabwe, the traditional opposition, will never win the 2028 election. We know that. It doesn't even exist. So what would you rather happen? Should we sit, watch Mnangagwa goes to 2030 and his crooks are stealing public funds, infrastructure is being destroyed? You know, some of us speak from the comfort of Western capitals or from South Africa. So it's easier to say a lot of things without putting yourself in the shoes of the people that are suffering in Zimbabwe. Those young men and women that are fearless today, that we see fighting, running battles with the police, they are suffering. They are going home to sleep on the floor. They don't have clean drinking water. They don't even know what they're going to eat tonight. That is why they are on the streets. So to pontificate from London or from New York or from Johannesburg to say they should do this, they should do that, what have we done ourselves in the time that we've been talking about this disaster? So unless someone is working for a faction of ZANU-PF, I don't see any reasonable person or a sane person saying, when this thing started, people were saying, "Oh, Paul, why are you not commenting about this?" And I said, no, I don't want to comment about an internal ZANU-PF matter, because they were talking about the hierarchical positions within ZANU-PF. And then when they started talking about the issues that are affecting ordinary, somebody must have spoken to them. And when they started talking about the real issues that are affecting people, I said, oh, they're talking about issues that are affected. They're talking about hospitals. GEZA is now talking about the abuse of journalists and so forth. These are issues that affect every Zimbabwean, regardless of your ideological persuasion, regardless of whether you are opposition, traditional, or you are in ZANU-PF. So it's important for us to understand that today is about stopping 2030. Today is about stopping an agenda to extend the looting of public funds. President Mnangagwa rigged the 2023 election. He started talking about term extension in early 2024, before he had finished his first term, his second term, before he had finished the first year of his second term. He was already talking about third term. So if we failed from 2023, 2024, 2025 to stop him, and then somebody comes from within his party to say, no, this is not acceptable, I see no reason in engaging with that person and supporting that particular issue. Perhaps what we should be asking is, when if the masses are able to deal with the issues that are on the table, what do we do after that if we prevail? And those are the kind of conversations I would have expected members of the so-called traditional opposition to start engaging with these guys, to say, what do we do if we are able? But as it is, to be quite honest with you, as it is, I don't see anything. What I see is a lot of people that are saying, no, 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 let them fight it out. The danger of letting them fight it out is if the side that prevails, it will feel that it chin because no one else is involved in talking about the real issues of the day. The real issues of the day are painful, Uncle Jed. You know, I get calls from Chingono village in Mrewa. Kuti mai guru, mukadzi wamukoma akashaya, mwana wababa mukuru, vapinda muhospital. So these things affect us even in Western capitals where we live. We have to send money every time in order to help our relatives. And yet, if you look at the constitution of Zimbabwe, anyone who has been working is now pensioned, they should get free health. But when they go to the hospital, they don't get the free health because the medication is not there. The medical equipment is not there. Isn't it a fight worth engaging in, fighting for the right of our people, of our relatives? Because, you know, the quality of life for the Zimbabwean diaspora, a lot of people think that the Zimbabwean diaspora has got a lot of money. No, it actually doesn't. The quality of life for the Zimbabwean diaspora will improve if we have a better government in Zimbabwe, because it means it means we are no longer sending money every month because your grandmother or your mother who's now at the village will be able to go to a hospital and get treatment. If I was President Mnangagwa's advisor, I would say to him today, Mdara, go on national television and address people and address them, not shouting at them like he always does and insulting them, but address them on the basis of what you are going to do to resolve these issues that have brought people to the streets, that have brought all urban areas to a standstill. It's important for him to do that. But we know that he's not going to do that. And it means this problem is going to continue. That's why I said, in my view, I see today as the beginning of a resistance against the 2030 useless agenda and against all the ills that we are seeing in our society, the ills that are killing people, the ills that have put the youth into the streets and turned them into drug addicts. All those things are important. Some people are not gifted and some people are not trained as communicators like some of us. So some of these people might not be able to express things the way they are supposed to express them. But let's not dwell on useless issues. Let's not dwell on personalities. Let's focus on the cause and the idea that this is how we are going to get out of this mess. As I've told you, there are people that have been paid, and Nick Mangwana, I challenge him. He knows this. There are people that have been paid to run Twitter spaces, to confuse people and things like that. But let's ignore that. And I'm happy. I've been seeing that the citizens are ignoring that. Let's focus on what is important. What is important is the 2030 thing must be stopped, and that the looting of public funds must be stopped. And the best case, that is how I see it. And I hope other citizens also see it in that way. Let's not be confused by people that want to divide us. There are so many people that want to divide us. Me and Uncle Jed, there are so many other fundamental issues that we disagree on. But we don't go around bashing each other, because doing so is what the evil enemy wants us to do. They want us to be fighting every day so that we create sideshows that make us ignore the real issues. The real issue is that we've got a corrupt president, a thieving president, who has looted billions with his criminal cartels, resulting in hospitals not having medication, resulting in schools not having books, resulting in the country having a 95% unemployment rate, resulting in the country having the highest inflation in the world, resulting in us not having clean drinking water and getting cholera. Those things are important. And we need to understand that we should not focus on individuals. This is no longer the time for individuals. We should focus on the cause, and we should focus on how to extricate ourselves out of this mess.
Right, thank you very much for that. Kwamuna zongopindura akungowedzera bichana kuti saka nhume idzi dzanga dzandidzo kuna Geza, what was the purpose of the visit?
Nhume dzanga dzatumwa kunzi yatitaurirana.
Right.
Imwe nhume yakatonokerwa dhona 4 a.m. kunzi enda unotaura nawo. Vakanzi no, inini ndiri kutaura ndiri pachi, ndiri pa YouTube pangu, iye ngaaende pa TV anotaura. Zvikanzi Geza iwewe tinogona kukudzosera mashares ako ekumbada Diamond togadzirisa imba yako. Zvikanzi naGeza aiwa, izvi hazvisinei neni, izvi zvazvenyika, endai munoadhiresa pa TV zvamunoda kuita.
Right. Also, yeah, Takaiba. Maybe we'll get an address very soon. But anyway, thank you very much. Are there any more people that want to ask Hopo, any
Yeah, can I
questions
just respond
Yes.
quickly, if you don't mind?
before he magically disappears from here?
Can I just respond quickly, if you don't
Yes.
mind?
Can you say that again?
So can I just respond quickly to Hopewell?
You want to respond to him?
Yeah.
I wanted
My
to
question
ask.
wasn't fully answered. Yeah, Hopewell, yeah, appreciate everything you said. And yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you said. But what I was trying to emphasize on was, we obviously know the ruling party, is involved in kleptocracy. But I think, like I said, the name dropping that Geza had done, if it was documented and we literally had an impeachment document and people were on the street saying, look, this has to be taken up by, whether it's, we know that, okay, the judiciary and the CIO is corrupt, etc, we know that. But I'm saying if there was something that we can actually say, okay, look, this is the impeachment document, this is the dossier, and people actually marching behind that to say, okay, after this happens, this is what we're going through, and this is the action that people are actually working towards. And now, like you said earlier, it's not about opposition, it's about the entire country. And I think if that was there, it would be more impactful. I know in your timeline, you've done a lot of investigative journalism, which is great. And, even the Gold Mafia documentary and all that, all these documentaries are great. But I'm just saying, in terms of really having, that article, which look, this is the document we're using for impeachment, enough is enough. That's where I'm trying to go with it.
You can never remove Emerson Mnangagwa using the institutions that he controls. You can never do that. It would be a waste of time, and you would actually love us to do that, to go through the institutions that he controls. Look, we've got Blessed Mhlanga in prison. He has not committed any crime, but the institution that you're talking about that is supposed to give him bail is captured by Emerson. He has put judges from the magistrates court. Though all those magistrates that you saw persecuting me in 2020 are now judges, because Emerson realized that the High Court was giving people bail because the High Court was still very professional to some extent. And what he then did was to promote these incompetent magistrates who can't even write a ruling, put them in the High Court. So it's a waste of time. Remember that when he extended, when he legally extended Luke Malaba's term as Chief Justice, Justice Mshore ruled against it, and she was hounded out of the judiciary. So the time for using state institutions is over. If you want change, you have to use the streets. There's no other space where you can, and I'm glad today that the military so far has stayed away from this, from the streets. Because in the past, the military would be put on the streets and then it would beat people up and shoot people. But I'm glad that today they've not been put on the streets. And I'm glad that the citizens today have been demonstrating peacefully until they were provoked with tear gas. Then they threw stones on the road to make sure that those trucks don't pass through. They were not throwing stones on the road to to destroy anything, as other people are trying to say, Varakash are trying to say. They were throwing stones as a way of stopping the police trucks that were coming with cops that were throwing tear gas at them. And otherwise, the demonstration has been peaceful so far. And so, in terms of the what you're talking about, it won't work. It will only work if there is a dialogue. If Emerson says, okay, let's dialogue, and the other side says, okay, let's dialogue, then you can bring something on the table. But at the moment, the idea is to make sure that every knee shall bow. That's the only language that this regime understands. If you saw the tweet that the ICT minister Tatenda put out, it speaks about everything about this regime: arrogant, insulting, detached from the reality of the ordinary citizens. That's what this regime is about. So don't expect any form of civility from this regime. The only language that this regime understands is every knee shall bow.
Mm. Right. I'm seeing reports saying that some protesters have been arrested. Police have moved in to arrest some of the protesters. Right. That yeah. So okay. Yeah. So some of the protesters have been arrested. So that is what is being reported. Checkmark is reporting on that. But people can still continue to be out there on the streets, right? There was somebody who wanted to ask is what was that you, Samvra?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
no,
wanted to add a comment on the question.
Opal has
Guys,
replied.
no,
Opal has replied.
no,
Yeah,
I
thanks.
think um,
I think Opal has
right.
replied. Yeah, thanks.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Right, right. Some of these guys, when I called you out, you weren't, responding. So, Chivunga is there now. Right. Okay. I'm going to remove you guys because I can't have you on the space. Tyrene, are you there? Right. I'm going to remove you because I can't have you on the space if you are not participating. Mr. President, are you there?
I think there's a problem, Uncle Jed, because I also had to get off the space and come back again. I couldn't hear anything, so I think these people they can't hear you.
Right. There's this account that is there. That account is just there. It's showing that it is requested to be added as a speaker. But what is happening, with this account is um it's not giving me it's not giving me a the opportunity to add them as a speaker. If I click on it, it simply says invite to speak, and yet that account is requested. And if I open this account, it has got zero following, zero followers, and there's a caution there. This account has been behaving in an unusual manner. So ever since that account came through, ever since I'm struggling to be communicating with people, and there's no way I'm trying to remove it. There's no way. It's just there.
The regime will do anything to stop people from talking. It started with sponsoring Twitter Spaces, and when it didn't work, now I saw some tweets where they were discouraging people from coming to your space, and so I'm not surprised that you could have those problems. But that's the regime. That's how it operates.
Yeah,
Ah,
this one is a very odd one because we've blocked it, we've reported it, and it's just there. You can't remove it off the space.
Ainagana Zita,
No,
it doesn't have the name.
no.
Okay, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. This thing is like a cancer. It doesn't even have a name.
No, it doesn't. It's just a requested. It doesn't have a picture. It doesn't have a name.
It doesn't have nothing.
Vari kuti kandira messages. They're trying to discourage us, so we understand.
And it's got 0 following and 0 followers.
Maybe it was created today.
No, you see, you know the thing is, it doesn't even have a name.
I'll take a screenshot and put it on the comment section.
No, I have taken.
Oh, you done? Okay.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I'm taking those. No. I'm taking those. Right. So I don't know. What is going on. So maybe it's a what you call it, a spam.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because your spaces have been targeted because they've lost even the sense of embarrassment. I see tweets, and I've been seeing tweets in the past week where they were very angry with your spaces. And today I even saw somebody saying, don't go to these big spaces. You go there on your own period. It's all part of the regime, but it's that's how pathetic the regime is. The world has moved on.
Yeah, it's also we have moved on. We have moved on. Right. Whilst I'm waiting for okay, I'm not waiting, for anything anyway. Right. Can I bring in Marcy? Marcy, can you come through? Whilst I'm getting people, in.
Ndeipi uncles, I was just coming for you kuti uteste kuti zviri kushanda as you test it start. So I can speak, the mic is working, but
Yeah.
I was trying to open it, it was stuck.
Who is that?
Yes, in the beginning. So maybe the previous speakers were failing to open it.
Right. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
Ashalin.
Yes, Ango. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead. I'm going to try. Okay. Can you speak? There's something that I need to try here. But can you speak?
Yeah, sure. I just thank you. For me, I'm really impressed by the young people who are in the streets. I think Zimbabwe had missed this. I think the government in Zimbabwe had sort of reached this position where they can do anything, any kind of incompetence they want, any kind of misgovernance they want, anything, say anything useless, and the people can't do anything about it. So for me, this is sort of a moment of reawakening where the people have once again retained their power of going into the street and demonstrate, against what is not good. Some people can look at it in terms of how many people are in the streets, but for me, just the fact that in Harare, on a Monday, you are able to have all the shops closed and the citizens stay at home. You are able to have young people who are still in university in the street, realizing that even without the leader of the opposition and his popularity, we can do this on our own. And they are there, leaderless, partless, tribeless, and they're really singing these struggle songs and talking about misgovernance, talking about that we don't want a person going against the constitution, against the 2 terms that he himself went to Davos and said when he was asked about it. He said, I'm a constitutionalist, I'm going to have 2 terms. After that, I'll leave. And the citizens reminding him what he said at that time. I think that for me is really important, that at least we are back to strikes, we are back to demonstration, we are back to registering our disappointment with the government. But where I have a question, I think for Hopewell, there is something that he said that is very important, that we must look at this beyond personalities, beyond GEZA, beyond this, and say these are things really affecting us in Zimbabwe. And where I would want Hopewell to sort of explain now is what happens now in terms of coordination. Who coordinates these demonstrations? How do you make sure that they are achieving what is supposed to be done? Because you realize that GEZA is nowhere to be found to direct the citizens as where are we marching to, what are we doing, what is even the agenda? Because you might find some people are marching right now, and they might know what they are fighting for, but you realize there is no sort of coordination from the leadership position. So in this way now, who is supposed to coordinate this? And who is going to keep the citizens on track now that we have called this? It's not about the personalities, so we'll be responsible for sort of guiding and making sure that the momentum remains, because I'm quite sure even the Zimbabwean police is too bankrupt that it cannot stop protest for a period of 5 days. So they can do that today. If the citizens continue for a period of 5 days without bankruptcy that country is, I don't think they will be able even to stop it in the day 5th. So who will then be responsible to electrify the citizens if this is a partyless and leaderless struggle that doesn't have a leader? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you, Uncle.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Right. Tichada, how are you doing?
I'm good, Uncle. Thank you so much, and thanks for all the hard work you're doing and everyone else here. My question also kind of piggybacks on Charlene's question. One of the things I did when the Kenyan demonstrations were happening was I went on their spaces to hear what was happening. And one of the biggest incentives that is probably serving as a deterrent for our people is the fact that if you got injured, there was nowhere to go. If you were arrested, I mean, there's no one to stand up for you, no things like that. But their diaspora community was very good at setting up resources. They absolutely knew where the hospital was going to take you if you were injured. They knew the doctors that understood their struggle and sympathized with them and were on their side. They knew the lawyers that were going to defend them. How are we going? Is there a way we can set up a network like that for our own citizens? Because that's what we as diaspora can do, facilitate to make sure that you're taken care of if you are on the streets. What can we do? And are there any people that are trusted, like names like David Coulthard or Beatrice Mutetwa ring a bell, names that are trusted for transparency and things like that? That's my question.
Right. On that aspect, I think we have the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. I think those are the to go to, lawyers for if you see any cases that's to do with human rights, stuff like that. They have people, or they have lawyers that are on standby to come in and help. But I then don't know now whether there's any need to expand that pool of these lawyers. But I know for a fact and for sure that the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, they've been very, 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 very helpful in taking on these cases that involves politically charged cases, or cases that go before the courts, and they've done a sterling job so far. So I think on that one, I'm not sure whether there can be any other, because if you're looking at, like, David Coulthard, his son, Doug Coulthard, I know he works for the firm, the Beatrice firm, but is also part and parcel of these lawyers for human rights that can come in is people that can help out where vanhu pavanosungirwa nyaya dziri ningirikini, dzinenge dziri linked kune nyaya dzema-human rights abuses. Right.
Thank you, Uncle. If you're able to share maybe a way we can donate, those are things that we can do to help. We're glad diaspora to reach out even to people that we know that are not are trying to stay away from this. They're not interested in Zim News. That's a way we know that we can get them to participate in this, by reaching out to our friends in our communities and asking them to donate. So ask them for a link or something.
Yeah, not a problem. Right, not a problem. Right. And this one, I've got somebody and it me a message. Oh, I'm just seeing this message now. Anzi, Uncle Mure say, I've been detained by the police earlier and I am being asked to write a statement as a journalist. I've been arrested. Yeah. So I'm not sure what kind of help, this brother needs. Right. I'm not sure. Right. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure what's going on here. Still. Right. So I'm not sure, what. Oh, that's him. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So, on Gab, did you say?
Muri sei mkwasha?
Abana apa muri sei?
Hapana apa inini handina update zvangu. Ndandodawo kutaurawo kungopakamura context from nyaya yataurwa naUpo. Something chakandi it changed the narrative of what we have been told and gave me perspective of how terrible this ZANU-PF government has been since 1980. So I went kumusha muna November last year and taitaura nyaya yekuisa mabhoho kupurazi kumusha kwanamai vangu inini vanobva kuchesa uko. Chesa is between Mount Darwin and Rushinga, specifically kunonzi Manyuchi. So I then asked her, ndakati sekuru vakazviwana sei, because he managed to acquire 2 farms in 1950s, 1960s ikoko. They are next to each other. And in one of the farms, he actually constructed a dam because Papa never for a neighbor. How brilliant was this old man? Yes, I interacted with him during COVID, but I ndinobvira some of his visions and his ideas. So now I was just thinking, kuti isusu we are struggling sevazukuru kuita mobilize mari yekuisa bhoho. How did he come up with all these things to then actually construct a dam for himself and stuff like that? I won't go into the details. My mother then just praised how brilliant his father was. Then ndobva ndazovabvunza ndakati, but kumanyuchi kune demu riri ikoko rakakura riri mupurazi maani nderani, because sometimes taimboti kana kwapwa taitoenda kunotsvaka mvura ikoko. Zvakanzi no, it's a community dam, nderemunhu wese, anyone anoda kurishandisa anongorishandisa. Ndikati but no, rakavakwa nani demu racho iroro? Zvakanzi rakavakwa nehurumende. Ndakati hurumende ipi? Zvakanzi hurumende yevarungu. Ndikati no, wait, are you telling me kuti this oppressive government that people went to war to fight was constructing dams for the people they were oppressing, and yet when we independent ourselves from them, our government could not even, they go around celebrating sinking stupid boreholes that an individual can do. So for me, that just opened up it was an awakening moment to say, yes, the oppressive rule was terrible, but there are things that our government should have been doing that they didn't do. The roads that were not being serviced. They found in my institutions DTFI already established with these guys, which were supposed to be helping Kutima infrastructure and access and stuff like that. So when these things are not talking about one perspective, say we will celebrate some of the things that we think ZANU-PF is doing. At least let us give this dispensation a chance and stuff like that. But honestly speaking, guys, this has been a terrible 45 years. We really need what is happening now, because it's terrible. We are not going anywhere, because we cannot get to a position like somebody said, nobody even imagined would say Mugabe was better. And isusu handisina perspective yenigirigini the rule yevarungu ka. We shouldn't even start speaking about saying kuti saka varungu vanga vari nani ka. from what we are saying. And I think that statement yaingotaurwa ichijokwa zvayo vachiti hey imimi munoti makasunungura nyika kana makaisunungura endai munoisungirira toona kuti hatikwanise kuisunungura. Emerson has managed to do that because he has become worse than the oppressors that they fought. And this is now the uprising that we really need to help each other, tichisupportana, tichipanana macontext iwayaya, so that unfortunately I'm not on the ground, but the people on the ground can really move and do what they are doing, everything that we can do to support them. Because honestly speaking, nyika iye yadzoserwa panga yakasungirirwa ende izvinezvi yakasungirirwa zveshuwa. And this is our time for this generation to show them that we can actually rise up toisunungura isusu. And hamuchina chimwe chekutiudza futi muchingoti nyika ino yakauya nehondo, isusuwo titoriwo nehondowo dzatiri kurwa izvinezvi. The positions that we are in right now, just all over the world, nobody wants to be in that situation. We would prefer to be at home. Tutanzwa nechando kunogini wandogara kutonhora wamana. People celebrate my degrees. They would, oh, today is a lovely day. It's 8 degrees. What nonsense is that? I've never felt that's a brilliant summer day. I've never even experienced the cold winter like that where I come from. So I'm 100%. I remember when we started discussing GEZA, we were very skeptical. But he has proven that he is on a case. And even context appear and Agopo as well just now to say, no. Inini, I'm talking on my YouTube. You've got a whole ZBC, go and talk there. If you think ZBC is not good enough, create your own YouTube. We'll follow you, Emerson, and say what you want. And we things because honestly, the things are not okay. So now go to takamirira zvedu maupdates ndingopoka context kakako kekuti nyika yedu yadzoserwa kunosungirirwa pavaiti vakaisunungura. Saka ngavasarambe vachitiudza kuti vakamboisunungura, havana, yadzoserwa paya.
Right. Thank you very much. That would be great. All nyika dzose saka togona kana kungononyukura so tongoibvisa so that is that.
Kutisunungura manje isusu kwete zvavo zvekuswera vachingotida kungoti ita inonzi emotional ningirikini vachingotiita kuti tingovaita tsitsi nekuti no, honestly, right. It has gone back there.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Wow. Report say, how you doing? Wow. Report say. Muripo up. All right.
Uncle Gerald.
Hey, baby.
Murvinizwa.
Yeah, ndokunzwai.
Uncle Gerald. Chakuda kuti vana veZimbabwe vazive ndechekuti rusununguko kana kuti revolution haitwe over one day. Izvozvi zvatoitika muZimbabwe izvozvo chiratidzo chekuti Emerson Mnangagwa haasi kutonga. Nekuti kana mumwe murume achikwanisa kuti nyika imire vanhu vasaende kumabasa, izvozvi zuva ranhasi revenue yaloswa yakawanda zvakadii kustate. Saka kana kuine mumwe murume ari kukwanisa kuita izvozvo, saka iye ngaazive kuti simba raainaro haana absolute power. Vanhu zvaari kuita neshamwari dzake zvekutora nyika kuita private property havachazvidi. Hazvisizvo zvavakatarisira muna 2017. Vanhu vakatarisira kuti iye ari kuzouya kuzochinja utongi hwaMugabe achiiswa utongi huri nani. Vanhu vaende kumabasa, zvinhu zviendeke. Vanhu havasi kumboda kuchengetwa nehurumende, havasi kuda masocial benefits. Kune dzimwe nyika vanhu vanotopiwa masocial benefits, but vanhu havasi kuda izvozvo. Vanoda kungoti economy flow yazoshandika tichengeta mhuri dzavo. But iye manje abva atora nyika yese yakuisa mhomwe dzake neshamwari dzake, shamwari dzevana vake namabhururu acho nemagirlfriends acho. Vanhu izvozvo havachazvida. Munhu aikwanisa kuti kana achienda kubasa ticha chaiye aizikanwa, isu takakurira kumamusha aizikanwa kuti mupurisa anonwa kana kuti maticha aimwa rinonzi gumbo ramapurisa. Unoriziva here rainzi gumbo ramapurisa rairehwa kumarizevha? Mapurisa akudhara aipfeka mabhurakwacha, aipfeka zvimwe zvimaniki zvavaipfeka zvebhurauni zvavaisa mumakumbo. Kana uchaziva so kuti ukabva pabhutsu waisvika pane chimwe chebhurauni so chavaipfeka.
Meaning mapurisa.
Saka icho chihombe chakafanana nekoti munhu aiti akapinda peya mupurisa akapinda obva ati ndipe gumbo remupurisa vachiima ndooto maticha maticha mumarizevha akumwa chihwane kachazvo. Hatingaite nyika iyoyo kana yekuti vanhu vatiri kutarisira kuti vatidzidzire, because maticha akakosha. Maticha ndiye anoumba future generation, ndiye anodzidzisa generation iri kuteera. Saka uda kuti adzidzise kuti mwana chii akanga achimwa naye bhurongo nezuro because haasi kukwanisa kutenga gumbo rake remupurisa. Dokta chaiye anobva kuna ticha, musoja anobva kuna ticha, mupurisa anobva kuna ticha, president anobva kuna ticha. Asi tarisa ticha wako iwewe nhasi akaumbuka kumusana unomuteerera kuti chii. Kana ukatouya uine $5 anogona kukumakira kuti wapasa, because we have corrupted our system. Saka hurumende checorruption chaimosoni ichi ngatichienda, ngatizive kuti vanhu havachachida, vanhu havachadi, vanhu vanoda rugare rwakanaka, vanhu havasi kumbotaura zvehondo, vanhu vari kuda kuti ugare zvakanaka munyika medu, vari kuzvisenzera achiwana zvakakodzerana zvinoenderana nesimba rake raari kuisa. Kwete zviri kuitwa izvese. Ari diaspora akanzwa kuti inini zviri kuno depression iri kundirova afa wakufunga kuti zvino ndikaenda kuZimbabwe ndichanotangira kupi, because kune kuite pekutangira ndosvika achienda kubasa. Ndo nyika yatiri kuda chete isu kuyanova vanhu havasi kumbokumbira chimwe chinhu. Saka vana veZimbabwe ngavasamboisa gesi pavasamuidzire kuti iko kutochinja hurumende kunochinjika ne1 day hasirizo, is a process. Isi kuchinja kuri constitutional kawo kwekuti vanhu vati zvakati uri kuti kudii, tiri kukumbirawo kuti urizaine, uri kuti kudii, kutaurirana. Zvatiri kutoita izvozvi discussion, engagement yatiri kuita kuti shamwari vanhu varwadziwa, tarwadziwa, wadiwa sudurugombo paumwe pamwe anogona kuchinja trajectory yenyika. Ndo nyaya iripo, hakusi kurwawo. Asi ngaazive kuti patience dzevanhu dzinosvika pekuguma. Vanhu vakamba kusaidzira, ukaramba ukasaidzirwa, ukaramba vanowana demo. Ndatenda hangu.
Right. Aiwa ndinotenda baba. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Chapiwa Nashi.
Alongo.
Ndebe yako.
Andra sikurese. Ndimi kamuri.
Usataure zambasa nokudzinga.
I don't know. It's not about this. I just speak my mind. Mind yangu haina basa.
Ndari ukataura zambasa nokudzinga.
I don't know what you mean by it's not about taura. What exactly do you mean?
You know what I mean?
I don't mean
Huh? You know yourself.
You know yourself.
I don't know. I know myself. You don't know me at all. Anyway, I just wanted to make a quick contribution. Ndungo teera uzurita vamwe kuona kuti what is going on, unoza kungovawo ne iye on the ground, vamwe varipo, vamwe vari kutarisa mavideo. Sorry?
Aiwa mirai aiwa hapana kubvunza wananga ndinawo.
Pana ndakataura nawo haripo ritsindika ndiripo handipotsi ndokupindura.
Alright, aiwa.
Okay. Asaka ndanichingoona kuti demonstration, stay away. It's quite kuti unyatsokuona, but my worry in general zvangu is just a general observation. Ndeyekuti after 43 years of democracy, of pluralist democracy, hatisati constitution yedu is not mature enough kuti kunge ichi ine processes okugadzirisa problems. For example, pakada kunzanzi paita nharo dzokuti munhu ngaabve, the constitution itself or the processes, the governance themselves should have informed. Panokuti vanhu vanoita speculate kuti kana tikatsamwa chodi, people are actually disagreeing on the way forward kuti pakaita problem in a country, how do you, what have we learned in 42 years of governance and democracy or in elections and everything and leadership? Of course, we had only 2 presidents, but that doesn't matter. But did we learn anything from the transition from a white minority rule to black minority? Okay, after 1980, tikati jongwe pamusoro jongwe papa nebhuru papa karigamombe kavakwa. What have we learned to an extent yokuti tinosvika isusu 2025, 43 years after we started to participate in democracy, we are still looking for a signal. I don't understand, because in 42 years, our institutions should have developed enough. Our war veterans, our youths, our people on the street, our workers, our teachers, our nurses, they have a way of channeling their causes and getting answers before things get out of hand or before things, stones being put in the road. But apana is just like in the street. Okay, in the street, so what? So our democracy has not grown at all in 42 years. No question. And thank you.
All right, okay. Right, Lennon, do you want, have you got an update?
Not really. I just want to quickly respond to Namkoma Tapua Nashe. A simple reading of our constitution, the 2013 constitution it's a sufficient document. It tells you almost everything that is needed to run institutions, independent institutions in our country. But unfortunately, we seem to have deviated from the bedrock of what these institutions provide. For example, there is an office of a public protector, the ombudsman. There are certain offices that are created by the constitution for very clear purposes. But when there is non-compliance with what is provided for in the constitution, what you bear and the fruits of that is chaos. The constitution is very clear. A simple alignment of all our statutory laws and other laws with the constitution would have helped to fortify a constitutional democracy. The constitution is very clear about what happens when you want to impeach a president. It's very clear when a president is committed gross misconduct. Everything is there in the constitution. But unfortunately, we have individuals who are selfish. We have individuals who are convinced that anything to do with the constitution that benefits everybody is not what they want us to follow. So I'm trying to say, Mkoma, a simple reading of our constitution, that's a very good document if you have had an opportunity to go through that 2013 constitution. It's very clear. You cannot benefit from any amendment to the constitution, number one. It's very clear that a president is going to run on 2 5-year terms as the maximum. The constitution is very clear on quite a lot of issues. Most of the questions that people are asking and people are demanding, they are provided for in the constitution. We have heard the many.
Mkoma, you're talking about rules. Mkoma, sorry to disturb you. You're talking about the rules, right? The laws, the provisions of the constitution. That's not my point. My point is about implementation of those rules. You understand? It's like you have a health and safety. What you know saying there, you have mutemo kutusauraya munhu ne tractor, for example. But that's not it. It's the prevention of that happening. It's not about kuti pane mutemo kuti it's a corporate manslaughter kuti munhu akatsikwa netractor yako. But iwewe is how you manage to prevent that. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not talking about hapana mutemo. Mutemo uripo. But why has it not been implemented? Why is not being used to actually address my issues evanhu? You see what I mean? I don't care about
but yataura wani kuti izvoka kuti mutemo uripo.
Ndokumbira uripo
tirana bimbidoga vari kuita zvinhu zvemusoro wavo.
Vapi vacho ivavo ngavasungwe nemutemo, ngavasungwe nemutemo wacho.
Ndo zvandataura kuti izvonhingi hakuna kutaura zambasa and that is
zvisina basa kupfeke mhani yemhata yako yekupfeka.
Aish. Angu ndokumbirawo kumupindura zvangu.
Mental challenges akawanda.
No. I have blocked him and removed him, from the space. Because kana afuta kuti izvoiye anogona kutuka. Isu vamwe tinotuka zvokuti ambuya ako vakafa vanenge vandorwadziwa takutuka. But hatiri hedu kuenda nengi down that route.
I just wanted to say something, Charles. There's so much dissonance in his submission because his tone implies that whatever is the reaction that we are experiencing is wrong. However, his facts are justifying that reaction. I don't know if he can see that. Maybe his mind is just too limited to even see. Because my facts actually are raised. We've got the constitution, but it's not being implemented because the people who are in custody of that make sure it is impossible for it to be implemented accordingly. So I don't know if you can see that dissonance in submission market. Ndapedzera vanhu
aiwa vanenge vari varakashiona ivo vandoziziva kuti izvo
munhu anga achitaura kubvunza vana hupu mumwe mubvunzo
hupu wacho hapo
aiyo but vana hupu vasiyo vaitawo mabasa makuru vanhu vakuru ava tumwe tutu munogona kuuya kuinbox tokupindurai tokudzidzisai soft so musingazvinyadzise pana vanhu vakawanda last time 2900 munhu uchitaura nonsense. You must listen to yourself before you start speaking in public. Umboita share those ideas with your wife or girlfriend obva akuudza kuti baba mwana apa musikona kuti
ndonge unaye ka wife yacho kana girlfriend type yo inoita chini.
Saka woti ukauya wakantuka kuti gumbo rako kana kuti chakati chako ndozvichandivhundutsa here izvozvo. Wangofanana kuti watiti gumbo rako musoro wako chichi hako zvine basa reizvozvo.
Aiwa varwere pfungwa honestly.
Vakaipa ndo zvatinosangana nazvo izvo vanhu vaMwari. Vamwe vanange nhingi vakarerwa naamai ainoseti vakabereka saka
Ian, Dr. Ian, you are now a doctor, Ian. Wow, I haven't heard you for a minute.
Hey, I was away for a while. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm using a different device.
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Hey, Uncle Murisei.
Hey, brother, it's been a minute.
Hey, it's been a while, guys. It's been a while. Title yacho ichinyatsokwana. Taita mai.
Yeah, vakaipa.
Ndakumbira Mike ndanzwa Tapiwa. We've heard of Tapiwa. Tapiwa anogara achingotaura nemusoro wese. And it's good that you notice kuti crew yevarakashiyo. I mean, how can you start talking about the constitutional provisions and people airing their views and their disgruntlement through a constitution that ZANU-PF has bastardized? I mean, it's like murutamba bora nevanu. Apana ari kuteerera any of the rules. Muri kuchkorwa makumbo, muchirohwa ma 2 feet, and then when you start doing the same thing, munotanga kuti koref. Kasi chitanga titambe pamutemo. It doesn't make sense. The reason why we are here is because, quite simply put, we have entrusted the destiny of our nation to people who are actually, frankly, not worth that trust. And the unfortunate thing is that they won't allow us to make the transition. They won't allow us to make the change. And what people are doing is just simply expressing their dissatisfaction to that. And, you would have wanted for this to be something that is, co-opted into by many parties. But nonetheless, yatanga kuZANU-PF ikoko nema-OVETs. And it would have been great if that could have been echoed across what we call a very silent opposition. But nonetheless, it's a key win. I think I've been looking at some of the videos from the different towns and cities. I think the perspective Yakuti vana vaskufara was well illustrated in today, and those that are in power should at least take note kuti the masamba achinja mchana. And Kunevari, even on their side, within the ZANU-PF structures, cadres and quarters, present, past, whichever line you shade them with, that are also expressing the true felt experience of Zimbabweans. And the true felt experience of Zimbabweans is that it's not a comfortable environment to be in. Paneva, I think reports. But the very bare, simple things that Zimbabweans aspire to be able to be given an opportunity in a functioning economy to ply their trade, to make their own future. They're not even asking for government to give them social grants and social securities and this, that, and that. It's just a functioning economy. That's how base and how low the bar has been put. And even at that one, any government with any sense in itself should be able to jump that hurdle with very little effort, put in it. But lo and behold, it's like Takangono Torah, the worst of the worst, the most incompetent of the most incompetent. And this is the thing we've been saying time and time and again, that kleptocracy breeds incompetence. You can't have a system that is fraught to nepotism, it's a fraud to corruption, it's a fraud to all forms of malfeasance. And then you expect an economy to work. Aishandi, pakadaro aitomboshandi kana. And I think the bottom line is the recognition that the ZANU-PF system of leadership, the ZANU-PF system and culture of leadership has failed Zimbabwe. We need a new system. We need a new culture. Even within itself, before Tatombo Shikaku constitution, within itself as a party, if it was built on of course, the written values are there. The issue is the culture of holding its leaders accountable, corrected. And we talked about this many times. ZANU-PF haina capacity yekuita self-correct. And so what then happens is that because it has failed to self-correct, it spills over into the civil environment where the country and participants now have to go and throw stones to have a party self-correct on its own. It should be able to hold its leaders accountable, but this is not what the new republic or the second republic was supposed to deliver for us. It's not supposed to deliver a how do I call it, a nationwide state capture. If you really look at the situation in Zimbabwe, that state has been completely captured by a number of key players who are looting state coffers in different facets, vehicles, and forms. The entire state is captured. And ZANU-PF itself should have recognized this and self-corrected before tasvika papoint yekuti vanhu vakuita the lowest of expectations kuti chaizvo chatiri kuda panapa, the bare minimum is just to be able to be in an economy that functions. I think it's understandable, but we need to raise the bar. And the truth of the matter is that the leadership in ZANU-PF and the culture in ZANU-PF has totally failed to bring about the Zimbabwe that Zimbabweans desire. And that's a fact that we must emboss in bold letters. This is where we are. And the causative issues of that is nothing else than a failed system, a failed culture, and a failed party called ZANU-PF. Ndombomira hangu ipapo.
Right. Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, for that. Rungona reports are so anonzano you kuda kwacheta gwirei handizo vari kuisa resolution ZANU-PF chakuti vaisa resolution yekuti he should be co-opted and become a member of the ZANU-PF Central Committee. Zvikananga zvikuva zvanyanyopinda kwese ikokoko. Vauda kunyatsoenda for the
Now the
jugular.
party is being captured. Now the party is being captured.
Absolutely.
State is captured already. Party man.
Yeah, going for the jugular. And you want a resolution number 2 where I got this state is the party is bigger than the state. Saka magwigwi. Ma one. But anyway, the guide from Mbere Sabuku murise kuna Sabuku bera.
Aiwa, always good, always good. I was just saying, kuti pane blaz vamadzinga patapiwa kuti let's not get people like that take off, course kuti discuss zvine direction. But I'm happy with the small movements that are nas. Normally, Zimbabweans could but this is some sort of encouragement to say, you know what, bit by bit, I think this will be a wake up call for all of us. Thank you.
And it's guy want to tender. Thank you very much, my brother. King Larry, how you doing? King Larry. King Larry. Dzoka yekushanda school of ideology muye pano King mbotaura. But anyway, so unofunga King Larry vari busy. Regaitende pana Njabulo. Njabulo, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm hoping everyone is good. There are certain things and narratives I think that ZANU-PF has pushed towards us that wants to make something look to be true. It's like the issue of the war veterans. For the longest of time in the history of Zimbabwe, the war veterans have always been anti-ZANU-PF. Most of them. If you go back to the formation of War Veterans Association in 1989, it was a movement which was formed to oppose ZANU-PF and to demand that ZANU-PF delivers on its promise. So some of us, we need to revisit history to see how these movements were formed until they were captured and they were formed and they were pushed into ZANU-PF, but they were never part of ZANU-PF to begin with when you speak of the war veterans. And we also should take note of how many war veterans, when we speak of war veterans, that are actual fact war veterans and they are part of ZANU-PF. So those are some of the things that I think as Zimbabweans we shouldn't be dragged into to say, no, ZANU-PF is part of what history and stuff like that. The people that went to war, the people that actually went and fought, they never liked ZANU-PF or to be part of it. This is why the first, you go back, majority of the times, the war veterans will protest against Mugabe, against ZANU-PF. We need to revisit that history. And this is why in 1997, Mugabe quickly paid them off. That was a payoff to try and bring them to support him. And you remember around 2000, the war veterans had to go and protest against Mugabe. Went and parked for 2 weeks in front of the State House, protesting against ZANU-PF and against Mugabe. And most people come to us and say, you know what, ZANU gave people land. No, ZANU did not give people land. It yielded to the pressure that it was given by the people. ZANU did not even want to give people land to start off with. In 2000, when you go down to the ground, you realize that people went, the war veterans went to start occupying farms by force. And ZANU, because it wanted that support base, this is why they yielded to the pressure they were being given. And most people, the thing that is not spoken about, it's how people were beaten up for occupying land. How Mugabe regime beat up people that invaded farms. For the longest, took their tools, took everything that belongs to those people, and it sent riot police against people that were occupying farms. But the history is being revised today to say, no, ZANU gave people land. ZANU did not. ZANU was forced so that it gained the support base of the war veterans. So today, for people, especially people within ZANU PF, to try and say, no, the war veterans are with us, it's a lie. It is a lie, because the war veterans have never even been subjected to ZANU PF in the first place. So, and you go back again to say, one of the things that I really, really want Zimbabweans to come up with, it is the spirit to stand up and to defend their rights as Zimbabweans. And I know a lot of people could have come up, especially from the opposition, say, no, that's an internal. If it's an internal conflict within ZANU PF, but it is brewing or it is conjuring a spirit that will make Zimbabweans to learn to stand up on their own. I'm in support of such a thing, so that tomorrow, when we are at a place like where we are as Zimbabweans, and we are able to stand up and challenge the system, Zimbabwe would have not gone this far in the depth that it has gone in terms of corrupt leadership, in terms of captured state. It would have not gone this far. We are not going to be having a rigged election if we have this spirit of standing up as Zimbabweans. You know, we have been so conditioned. We have been so conditioned that we have this conditioning as Zimbabweans that we shouldn't challenge. We shouldn't challenge the system. We shouldn't stand up and demand our rights. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. And that thing has conditioned us to be afraid, even when our rights are being violated. And we need to break out of this thing as Zimbabweans. And coming back to what is happening today, this thing, it is the initiation, or it is the start. And I wish this same spirit could be carried over, and it could be carried over for generations to come, so that we are able to stand up and fight for what is rightfully ours as Zimbabweans. A lot of things are going wrong in Zimbabwe, and a lot of things have been destroyed by the current government. We no longer have credible institutes. We no longer have functional. We don't even have democracy in Zimbabwe. We don't even have a functioning justice system that is supposed to protect the people of Zimbabwe. And what people don't know, when the institutes are already dead and captured, you are no longer protected as the public, because the institutes were supposed to be independent so that they serve the people of Zimbabwe. But when the institutes are captured, we are on zero, because they now serve their master. Yet the master was supposed to be the people of Zimbabwe. The courts were supposed to bow to the people of Zimbabwe, but today the courts are bound to the voice of one person. So we need to start fighting as Zimbabweans. This could just be a starting point, but let not be the end point. And I heard a lot of guys come up as I learned to say, yeah, who's going to lead? Who's going? I'm happy that Zimbabweans, they want to go to the streets on their own without leadership so that it protects the power of the citizens. So that tomorrow, even if another dictator comes up, Zimbabweans are going to rise and say, no, we are used to rising up and fighting any form of oppression by ourselves. So that spirit to fight has to be embedded so that Zimbabweans become self-conscious and self-led. Because what has blindsided us as Zimbabweans for the longest is that we are waiting for someone to tell us what to do with what is happening to us. I know now it's time to protest. You see, they are oppressing you. It's time to protest. We need to be liberated by ourselves on our own, so that there is no and they know the regime what it counts on. The regime is very clever because that's what it wants. It wants us to have leaders. It wants us to be led, so that one time it will come and just arrest the leaders and beat up the leaders, then Sanganwacho Vatopera. But if you have leaderless demonstrations that seeks to fight for the rights of Zimbabweans, that seeks to correct the wrongs that have happened, you give the citizens more power, because today they can start arresting, but they'll never arrest 500,000 Zimbabweans. Where are they going to put them? Because if they arrest two today, tomorrow they find that there is 100,000 that is gathered and protesting. They arrest the 100,000. Then they wake up tomorrow, there is a new group which is also protesting. So that kind of demonstrations gives power to the citizens. And I hope the spirit that it carries continues. Thank you, Uncle Gerard.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate. Right. Ngoma Lenzo, come in.
Uncle Ted, how are you? Thank you so much for allowing me this time to air my views. Things are boiling up, yeah, and they're bubbling along beautifully. I've received a message right now from one of the cops. Varikutoti akomana rambai makabata ikoko kumaspace ikoko. This regime chakwara nenzara. It's any box, I'll post it later.
Right.
So you can see the situation on the ground. People are not happy with the SADC chairman. And this is going to embarrass the SADC region. Wakamupa chairmanship. Yet there's confusion and commotion, crisis in Zimbabwe. People want good governance. People want good life. People want clean water. People want jobs. The young people want jobs. These are the people who are demonstrating right now in the streets. It has showed MNANGAGWA is just a shell without the military, without the force. So he's using the military, the force, to suppress people's voices. And it has just shown us that MNANGAGWA ingori is Nanyanga. It has proved Harare has been shut down today, and the millions of dollars have been lost. And if this continues for a week, I don't know whether MNANGAGWA still have the capacity to sustain $50 twakaiswa chete katopera nhasi kubva kuseni mupurisa adhipiwa kuseni kuma around 6 or 5 a.m. and they are not going away because they don't know what is going to happen during the night. So it's ngoma ndiyo till maybe tomorrow. And those Russians, I don't know whether the Russians are ready to be provided to the police officers who will be on the ground. I'm happy the military is not there. Maybe it will just get in when things get tense. But at the moment, the police, as long as they're not going to open fire, tear gas, tear smoke. Haityise maningi iyoyo. So there are issues that Mnangagwa must address. And already GEZA revolution has shattered this 2030 narrative, which is a point on GEZA. I don't think from now anyone Bipurwa or Varakashi will start talking about 2030 anenge achitonga. Did you see any kind of post from the social media about 2030 right now? Even starting from yesterday, there's nothing. So things are moving very well, and we are.
Yakwazvimbira 2030 slogan.
Yakutozvimbira, and they can't even post it right now. Ndopakatanga nyaya dzedzungu idzodzo dzekuti 2030 is narrative, and already GEZA is won a point there. I'm happy that this fight is within ZANU-PF versus ZANU-PF. Imagine if it was Nelson Chamisa in the opposition. Would you have read stories from the Herald propaganda saying these are sponsored riots or protests being funded by the West, the British and the Americans? And they are not getting, we're not getting such kind of stories right now. It's only, they say, business is usual in town, in different kind of cities around Zimbabwe. But there's no business at all. That's much we know, and we've seen it on the ground right now. So GEZA abata somebody with this scrotum, pabatwa munhu kuti G. Harare is being shut down. So simba revanhu, you don't have to underrate it. No matter you can have that big post, or you are a president, you are a vice president, but these leaders must respect the people's will. They must respect the people's power. Vanhu vane simba to such an extent that Harare can go down through GEZA. I support him. Ini ndoti famba GEZA, famba pasi panyoro. Thank you, Uncle Jez.
I need it. Right, thank you very much. Child of Zimbabwe, yes. Please come through.
Makadini, Masura say.
Makasimba.
Hello, Uncle Jez, Uncle Titus. How are you? Hope you find everyone else. And I just want to take a time to salute all the fighters. Vakazara vari kutirwira muZimbabwe, isusu were not able to be there. But then we thank them for the effort and the love that they're putting to just going out there and spending their time to fight with us. And I'm just going to touch on three things. I'm going to touch on generally what is the problem with our Zimbabwe right now. We've got corruption, violation of human rights, and economic abuse, right? But most of these things we realize. I worked in the police force for 11 years, then I left to come abroad. It's not a good place, but then I'm abroad. But they took the Rhodesian laws that were there from before. They just pushed them into Zimbabwe. They didn't edit them. Even when the coming of the new constitution, they didn't edit things that they were benefiting from. Like they kept on those things that the colonialist powers were using against Africans. They just continued using them against their fellow Africans. That's why right now we got so many challenges with legislator that is failing to be aligned with the new constitution. We got so many issues that are outstanding that needs to be addressed, like the Police Act and the Defense Act, which are the main things that need to be aligned with the constitution. Then within the constitution, we also have things like the intelligence officers. Our constitution on section 224, that's where it talks about the intelligence. It doesn't give restrictions of what they're doing. How are they working? What kind of stuff they're doing? What kind of operatives are they doing within and outside? And we need them limited. We can't have people who can just do what they want, because it's in this constitution doesn't say. And the previous colonial constitution allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do with people, and we just carried it on with us. Those are some of the things that that we need to really look at as Zimbabweans. Then there's also like separation of power. The legislature is supposed to be different from judiciary and executive, as was being talked about. I think Mkoma Tapiwa was trying to get an attention on that one. The minute there's no separation of legislative, judiciary, and executive, that means when executive does something wrong, judiciary cannot point out that executive, the president, the ministers have done something wrong. They're not held accountable because there's no separation of power. They've got people who are together sitting in one place. So it's difficult to we're going to change a system if we do not address these things as a matter of importance. Those on the top, because even if we put anyone who can put right there into the system, the laws, the system that is already there is from a colonial power that didn't want to let go of power. And the people that had the power didn't want to let go of power. So they maintained these systems. And these systems need a Zimbabwe that will change those systems before we even start talking about putting in a new leader. Because the new leader will automatically be put in a, how do you put it? Like, it's a storm that's brewing. They're already going into a storm that's already brewing. That's what these things that are there. Then there was also like the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, like there was mentioned by Mkoma Lennon about it. The Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission is supposed to be there for the people, but they're not there because they're caught up in this legal setup that doesn't have them separated in power. Sorry, excuse me. Everyone is with, like everyone is having that power congested in one person or one institute. That means the executive has got all power over these things that can make a difference in Zimbabwe for us. Then I also wanted to talk about another thing that we are lacking is we're lacking revolutionary leaders. It might be difficult right now, as we're saying, people are going to the streets, there's no one leading them. But this is the opportunity for us to see our future leaders. Because when there is a revolution like this, that affects everyone. There's no one here who's going to say that inini sipo kwandiri kutenga ndikutenga ne50 cents kana chingwa kwandiri kutenga ndikutenga ne20 cents. Everyone has got basically around the same prices of bread, milk, and soap, which are basics. So this is affecting everyone that everyone is talking about. And if you people see people who right now, there's no one paying them. There's no paycheck. They're going out and saying, we're with these people, we're going to be fighting with them in the front. Natural leaders will come out of that. We'll have people like leaders like Ibrahim Traore coming up because they'll be coming from the grassroots of loving people and loving their country, which is something that we have been lacking. And in the previous system, we've had bootlickers from all sects, all these other people that are around the executive. They're all bootlicking because they want to keep their paychecks going. We got people who are selfish and who failed to say things that are wrong, being wrong because they've been lacking principles. And lacking those principles has led us into this setup where we have people who go into public offices, not because they love working for people, they love people, but because of the prominence that comes with that job. Then I think I got one more thing that I also wanted to talk about. The fact that we've got Comrade GEZA coming out in that military uniform. That's the original military uniform. That is not a fake or Yakutenga Mshopu, Kanawitenga anyway. And you find him coming up and addressing us like that. And nobody has addressed him. Nobody has said, there's a warrant of arrest. And people know where he is. And these people have not gone and done something about it. That means he's got some information that we don't have. Like you find tools that we don't have because whenever they're during want, but we've got that information coming from this person. So we should just give it a try. All right, we got nothing to lose. We're already drowning. Why not hold on to that straw on the side of the river and try to hold us up? Hold on to that log that's floating in the water and try to hold us up because we want to get there somewhere. We got plans, we want to get somewhere. We'll move to the next level. You drag yourself out as you go. I think that's what we should carry as Zimbabweans, because right now, what we need is people who protect other Zimbabweans. by supporting and everything we're going to be doing. I think that is all I have to say for now. I pray we continue with this fight. Viva Zimbabwe.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Okay. Can I have a Trinity? Trinity, can you come through? Trinity, I hope you can hear me. Trinity Tafira. Okay. You can't. I'm going to remove you. Right. Can I bring in His Grace? Oh, the progressive. Progressive citizen. If you are talking, I can't hear you. Your mic is on mute. Right. Okay. Charles.
Uncle GEZA, how are you today?
I am good.
Good stuff. Hey, I heard you since morning. It's just that I was running in and on from work, but I just want to say thank you so much for hosting this space. You've done a very good job, and this is a reason that has killed, has played a major
Good afternoon,
role.
guys.
Chimomirai me. Chimomirai. Ngoma panaje chibo pakai muri papo. Kuya kwa muri mkomongo. Good afternoon anyway to you, Ngoma panaje. Right. Ngoma Charles, go ahead.
Yes, I was just saying good. Yeah. What you role in that has really destroyed this regime is social media, and they that's one thing that they failed to control. And you yourself, Titus, are doing a very good job. And since morning today, you guys have been on that thingy, which is very, very encouraging. I just want to say a couple of things though. Your question is it business as usual? For me, it's not business as usual. It has proved to us that Zimbabweans are not happy. Yes, heads off to Mr. GEZA for initiating this. But I think what he has done, or what has come out, is this is now a citizen struggle. We need to continue as citizens now and put pressure. But how do we put pressure now? That is the question. It's just that because right now it has proved, according to me, my own opinion, it has proved we don't have any opposition in the country. And the reason why these oppositions are quiet, because it has proved that they are captured. If they open their mouth, a lot will come out. So they cannot say anything, which is good though, because they totally wasted people's time. This is Zimbabweans now who have to push this thing. But had we known, when situations like this happen, in as much as people are protesting, people are staying away, it then gives an opportunity for people to go to the police and open cases against all these people that were mentioned by GEZA. It's just that we needed the proof. Could this person did this person did this, all the illegality that was happening, give it to the police, and we put pressure for the police to act, even if they are captured, because it's their job according to the Constitution. No, it's time for the citizens now to make a move, a push, which doesn't back down. Like, look, I've got enough respect, and I feel that right now, the people who can make this really work, in other countries like Kenya, it was the youth, right? But there is another certain gender that is overlooked, that has got power to make things happen. It's women. This morning I heard, it's just that I was running for a meeting, but I heard about a lady who was complaining, or who was out there protesting with crutches, right? And saying she's doing it for her grandchildren. That's a mother. And these mothers are very powerful. And I would want to call upon all the women to put a stand to this, you know. And this is the only time that they can put a wave and things will change. Because I think it's for GEZA, well, what he has done is, for me, he has initiated a wave of change, right? Right now, we cannot back down until the citizens' requirements are met. So as citizens now, we just need to round up and put pressure on these guys. That's my 2 cents for now. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Right. Thank you very much, Komachaos. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes, Grace, can you come in?
Yeah, thank you very much for Piper Monday. I noticed to put my mic and get you requesting to approve. But anyway, look, number one, let me start by apologizing to that young lady who thought insulting me was helpful yesterday. It was not being personal, and I'm not being personal about the situation we find ourselves here today. It's not because we've moved an inch better closer to Uhuru. We are far from it. My point was, and remains, and I'm so glad the other lady before the previous brother mentioned the key issues we're missing right now. There's no revolution without a head. A head is important not only for mouths, but a head is important for the brains, for the strategies, for the game. At this point, what we are doing as a nation is to prove to ZANU-PF, who are all very, very, I can tell you this because I know most of those people. They are, one of Chikawa says that no waiter. One of Bleeder says that no waiter. But what they have learned is over time, isusu tikachidzirwa coil, and we drove into our wood cabins. And so I think ultimately what is true and evident is, yes, we can't depend, Zimbabweans must not depend on the current opposition political parties for anything, not at all. But what must also happen is we must figure out the way forward. We do have to have people that can meet with MNANGAGWA and whoever is president at that point. Enough is enough. 50 years is a long time. Is something you may be surprised with. 20 years ago, what does that mean? Those children are consigned to banditry, to life of crime, to life irrevisionness. Is that what we are happy to see? Remember, some of us back in the early 80s, we had the street kids issue. Many of those street kids became street husbands. And so we need to change that. Can that one? Can you mute just that friend of ours?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine we had the street kids issues. Those street kids became normal. Why put the no dark and they became, we normalized that. We normalized accommodation kunana turi vadzimu matapi kunana sadza guru ingoitwa rotten decay. We normalized all that. Now we've normalized kuti nyika yese, the whole nation ya full of unemployed people who have to ngwafa. We normalized all that. So I think in this genre of discussing Zimbabwe, I beseech you, my brothers and sisters, we now need to think long and hard about what kind of country we want to have and how we are going to have to build it. Because they don't care. In fact, the infighting at Mzanui, it's not really infighting because something isn't improved. It's infighting because that's the language they use. It's not because the Zimbabwean citizen has not benefited from independence up to this point. So this subject should no longer be something for fun. or something for entertainment. It should be serious business about where do we want to go. Let me remind you, Zimbabwe used to be the second best economy on the African continent south of the Sahara. Zimbabwe used to be the best economy in Southern Africa. That's the other language I'm trying to use. Today, our brothers and sisters can't walk into Botswana, Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, Wakasanza. How to shupa? Why? Because we were there at the top at some point, but we are no longer at the top. If we are going to reassert ourselves as a nation, seriously, look, I've never seen, and to be honest, I think we are breaking all the records now. I've never seen, at least I've read and I continue to read, I've never seen a great nation go so low as to mimic what we have become. So if we are thinking about the future, let's think seriously about it. The culture we have put ourselves into, the political game that we have now. I don't know that we chose it or it chose us, and what we have accepted. Because the things we accept from ZANU-PF are completely unacceptable. Yes, in this battle for freedom, I don't know of a place where independence came because no one died. I do not know why we think with the Gugura only justifies this is false peace we have. I do not know why we think people being killed, protecting what was theirs in the community, it justifies this false peace. I do not know why zvakaitika kunana kuParkridge kuHarare, people being killed by government state apparatus, it justifies this force. We don't have peace. At some point, we must stop living in shadow. I think pane vamwe vari kupopoterana kuva dai vambomira.
Ukaribva vachigara kuchirundu yakamboita sei? Aiwa kwenda kubhana zveyo tipona utamuro kubva kuseni. Aiwa hatishandi. Iwe uzaindoenda buda. Famba.
Sorry guys. Yeah, I couldn't mute him, but I removed him.
Kandini mufoni mama unditumire.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway,
Is he still on the speakers? Because Ndamo removed
I can still hear them.
He's speaking.
He's speaking, but he's not on the speakers, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I think.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I think, in all fairness, as citizens of Zimbabwe, if we are desperate for a better Zimbabwe, our desperation must show ne urongwa hwatinoita going forward. Sure, the revolution, Zimbabweans are tired. They are tired. That's true. But sometimes they need the energy from those that are outside. Sometimes they also need to be reminded, you also have the energy, but here's what we can help each other to do. Now, is the trip going to be smooth sailing? No, it won't be. It may be even dangerous, but guess what? What is not good enough is that we accept we have a false peace. Today, even if MNANGAGWA declares a state of emergency, I mean, I don't understand it. We have been in a state of emergency forever in Zimbabwe, forever. So I don't know what difference it would make. We have not had freedoms forever. So at some point we must say enough is enough. And how much are we willing to commit to finding new solutions? Well, I don't know. My hope is we get into that gear where we decide kufa kana kusafa ndio kupi.
Yeah, pakaipa. I want to thank Mkoma. Thank you very much. Right. Regainende kuna vamusena muripo erapo.
Vamusena vari pano. Thanks Uncle Jez. Zviri sei?
Angodaro kuri seiko?
So yeah, no doubt I think I must give a credit and congratulations to the masses of Zimbabwe who took the heat and they took the bull by the horns and stood up against a heavily armed regime, brutal regime, and decided some to stay away, which I applaud as well. If somebody was not ready to face the risk, they stayed away, and also applaud the few and the many that are even going into these cities to try and make their voice heard. And I think we must really applaud and congratulate Zimbabweans kuti taakukwanisa taakutanga to have our our moja back, that had been destroyed over years of PTSD against a regime that was always trigger happy, trying to block free speech, demonstrations, incarcerating people, etc. But I think this is a trigger, a light on Comrade Geza, will give us back our bravery, our spirit that nadzo when we stood up against the colonial regime. They were armed, they were brutal, they were heavy, they were evil, but takakwanisa vanhu kusumuka tisina chatakabata maoko and fought a struggle that we eventually won. And I think that is what we need, the spirit that we need to do against ED and the regime and the cartels that they've created. There are only a few people, and the signs that in our country today, and is a proof yekuti ZANU PF na ED, if there were elections that were free in Zimbabwe, daivakasobuda kare, because the masses, you can tell kuti no one is interested about this rubbish anymore. And I think if at all people can manage to push a little bit harder and a little bit longer, this regime will break down. If we manage to go beyond today, we manage to go a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days, and be prepared. We know that people will lose a lot of things. This is their livelihood. People are not going, akusina mabasa Zimbabwe, mvura iri erratic, people are hungry, and kuti vaite zvavaita nhasi, it's a big deal, which is not easy. But I think if, because we're doing it right now for our lives and our children's futures, we should be able to sacrifice and go for another couple of days or three, and make sure that it resonates into the corridors of power dziri muZimbabwe right now, kusvika ED aita opt to resign and go. So I just hope that it's a message that we could send back home, and we could agitate for. Let's do it again tomorrow. Let's be brave and not go to their workplaces, because hapana kusiri kufa until they are drawn to a negotiating table. And the other thing is about opposition. I've heard a lot of comments and commentary about opposition. Personally, I think yes, they could have done a bit more by agitating and giving a voice to issues of corruption, to issues there, the 2030. I think our opposition in all different spectra, hatina kuti opposition yachamisa here kana kuti and whoever is in opposition, they should have ridden on the wave of the Zimbabwean people today, and made and given a voice, even a statement, time and again. Even though vanga vataura kuti hatisi kuda kuita involved in chinhu chezanu PF, but ZANU PF, we can't separate it from the country today. If we're being realistic, we can't separate it from governance. What happens in ZANU PF will influence and affect what happens with our country. And if something like this is happening within them, if we are honest enough, we should be able to partake and have a role to play in influencing zvinenge zvichiitika muzanu PF macho one way or the other. So we can't do that by being quiet and standing aside. But the fact yekuti this opposition chose not to want to come out and say we are part of this uprising and demonstration, I think that's also disarmed the regime, because you can see even some of the response that they're doing in the cities is not as brutal as they normally do when they know that the demonstration or the action is being done by opposition, especially by Chamisa. When they know it's being done by Chamisa, all the heaviness in the regime is born to is brought to bear on the nation and on the country, and the brutal Vabuda. But today you can tell that they don't know how far to go, because and they've noticed that the masses are not about politics, partisan politics. They're about issues of the country. And I think that is the advantage of opposition staying out. But I think from now onwards, they should be visible more and talk more about what is happening and play a part.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate. Right. Let us move on. Ndaona, there's a video yanategwa yandaona pachitange pari kupfuura mota kedhere yachiweka, and the people were jovial vachifara kuti zvokutamba. Ndikada kuma hanzi chiwenga achipfuura mota ked apa paroratidza ndizvo ndingi pari kufarwa ipapa asi nyatsoziva
Saka motaked yacho haina kutombobva nyangora vanhu
ana vanhu vari kufara. Hamira ndodoti video yacho ndodoti video yacho vanhu vari kufara kuti inunga chaiko chaiko iyo yanaisa mukomensection.
Takatochaya zvatoitika anko. Zvatoitika pagiraundi izvozvo. Zvatoitika pagiraundi, pane munhu ane akaunti iyo, munhu mupesi wangu atoriwo pagiraundi. Kuti takatochaya, hanzi mukuru wapfuura, pane yapfuura mapurisa achitoma paambosiza achitobvisiswa matombo murodhi. Mukuru achitobva achitouya nerutendro achitodzika nerodhiyo.
Ndatoona ka paritohelulwa.
Zvinondira mushe angu china chopera nhasi ichi. Ende mupesi atondiudza kuti reinforcement vakomana vari kuto usiku vari kutogadza momentum. Game remataimi rakatohereretsa usiku. Kuona zvoitika pacrowd apo angu hapana mafano emustreet. Mafano emustreet anenge achiziva kuti area yakadai so kachikabvunduka tumhanya takadai.
Right.
Muri kuona manje. Saka ndo vanhu vanomepa toni azivawo. Manje mapurisa manje skiri ravo rikuita rekumhanya nemota. Taimi vanenge vada kuzodzika mota. Vanenge vadzisipesa kudhaya.
Tiza uyo apisa mhanya uyo.
Pane imwe yandatumirwa kuti tiega dzichidzorerwa. Musatambe navanhu vari kusvita mutoriro. Vari kusvita mutoriro mozwa kuti tiega chavo chikise.
Ndikungonzwa zvingonzi hanzi izogeza anogona kukanda kameseji.
Update yakapiwa naDD Hope iyo anko handifungi kuti zvinhu zvichakamira bo.
Bozi kuri kunzi izvoni vanhu vakaenda kuna GEZA ndizve. Vamwe vacharonzi izvo futi akati izvo vamwe vakaenda kuna nhingirikini. Kuna Chiwenga.
Vakaenda kuna Chiwenga vachiti apa ndozomboyanzwa pane vanoita skura saka ndazonzwa. Jambo izvi vakuna kumisa kana minute wari wazo. Oita recap of the bulletin.
Zvatopera.
Vakashata.
Aiwa vanhu ndenge ngavambodoneta ndenge PayPal andozviyazvechitaura.
Anko iye akaoma kai. Matya kuti mapurisa akamafaira.
Ndakutonoona kuti kucapital one kune chinhu here kuti timbokupatira.
Wozava ndakurera msikazwa pane iwe because ndinge ndatsindikidzwa.
Muzotsindira hangu JEZA, muzotsindira. Information yakadaro hangu JEZA ndoinoita kuti tirambe tine good spirits kangu JEZA. Ndozvo zviri kuti motivate. Hatikana kana mari guys.
Vanonge ndingaizo mastars kuPayPal.
Musadaro hangu. Amana kuona zvatikira hangu JEZA. Mudikirai amana mudikira nemapono hangu JEZA una chibhodhoro chanhasi. Kutakira pachibhodhoro chanhasi.
Aiwa mari ngaiende kuPayPal zveshwa because ndimi vamwe vatatokanganwa kucongratulate uncle because muri kutoita basa hombe just to give a mouthpiece and the information. We are not encouraging anyone, but this is a platform for Zimbabwe to just meet and discuss what's happening back home. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aiwa hakungoedza kungoti zotingoonesana tichibatsirana sevana veZimbabwe kudai so. Right, rekani muunza umwe munhu ataure.
Hangu dzidzi musati mangoudza information musatsindira. Matoti provoke hangu dzidzi.
The last one, the last one ambouya.
Angoma wana.
Rekani kubatsira. Karibu.
Kubva pana mudhara wopo ndaswera nemudhara. Ndakangorara mota mudhara kubva time yamai.
Serious?
Mawani mudhara ndingonakirwa mudhara.
Bagai.
I really want to appreciate time yamukutora muchiunganidza vanhu so that they can discuss real issues and like come up with ideas, you know. Chisunyika yacho mudhara. We have to come up with ideas on how we move forward because at the end of the day mudhara ezvinonzi takaenda kuchikoro mudhara but angogara padini mudhara degree rero akatorishafa mudhara ukariona unotodhiniwa mudhara kuti if I have to find a job ndikufanira kuvanzi nelink but nanda link mudhara wangu akafa saka ndopiwa link nani mudhara and then
oh no
you see so I wanted to address a couple of issues with him, you know. In nangu personally mudhara today's event is not about the kuti the 23rd atodozvinzwa but my main issue is amkuru ngavaenda he served 2 years dzasara pana Bob and we didn't see anything. He did his first term, we didn't see anything. Ndaraunda marodzi akagadzirwa nana Chovhi Kona vaiti vari kugadzirira vanhu and if you go to those places last week ndakachikora shoko remota mudhara kuzosvika padheni chitaura kuti shoko rakachikoka ndapinda pothole but it's because of mapotholes mamwe ekuti hatisiri pothole mudhara unogona kutongowedzera robva ratongoita because the situation is terrible. You go to a hospital and then on moms every month for sugar, my sugar item. I think last month because you go there, what's going on? So what's the point of now? And we are just coming here so that you tell us then I have to go. You're not like a private doctor. So when moms nangwa that you got sending us to end up in a private doctor, medication sugar no zikana. And we just buy our medication until because this hospital we've lost I've lost my father Mupari, I've lost my sister Mupari because of the poor services and it takes to short term that. And we keep fighting. Effort to go this could be one to push hustle and someone is I my jokes in that it treats us like we are nothing in this country. And the other thing we'll talk about Comrade GEZA. I like his initiative. Which is But yeah. Today's thing was in our call it a success because when wafunga vega mdara, they took it upon themselves. Kuti nyika ndeyedu. They went into the streets. Whether chigunduru chaenda, whether it's a normal person, I know it's like business wise, but people saw kuti there's need to go out there. I personally would tell you kuti I couldn't go out and because inini nanganchito one my issue was kuti apana yedu mdara ngenchitokwatawo kuti tikazonosanganiswa ikoko ndokwara mdara and moms vada kuchengetwa ndokwara mdara and so let us come up with ideas dzekuvaka nyika nandiripo even time yemufesto yatapiwa nasha achikutukai mdara if mwana atozokomenta ndikati vanhu vakadaisiyana inawo mdara because we don't need people like that in our society. Don't know which is mashure vamwe. Don't come with your unscrupulous. You want to be heard. Because ukutangokuda kukonzeresa soda pavanhu vari kutaura zvinhu zviri progressive, Why are you coming with your vulgar language patiri panapa? We are here. Pana vanhu vakuru vatoti listen mdara. If you can't respect people in public space yakadai, are you gonna be respectful kune vanhu out there? Which means kutongotaridza character yekuti kumba kwenyu hauna kupiwa haunaonetwa zviripo. But above all, I would like to thank you, Dara, for coming up with this idea you could host this space so that we engage in these conversations, we find a way forward for our nation. Because hatikutodawo kusomoka mdara, tikutodawo mabig page aya but tamashandira not zvokupiwa asida zvekunzi covid ndoda unishandira mdara, ndotaura mari yangu ndono ndamutenga mota not kupiwa zvinhu mdara. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know what?
Mfana wangu ya inbox kwangu ka. Spendi mfana wangu.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to hear inspiring words from you right now. The generation yenyu mfana wangu.
Thank you, Mbonga. Thank you.
I'm almost tearing up right now. Ndichona young generation yakadai so.
Kana inini unoziva sona ndatongoti akumana.
Mfana wangu inbox kwangu ndikandire number yako inbox kwangu mfana wangu. Ndimbokufota data yanhasi umboramba uri paspace mfana wangu.
Ndototumira moms mdara. Data ndinaro hangu ndotumira moms mdara.
Iri bo mfana wangu uya ku inbox kwangu mfana.
Iri bo mdara wangu.
Aiwa ngiondesera message yakumene nengikuseruko hatimbotaura ndimboengeja because ndimi ndingima young people atinoda kuti anoona kuti ndimi wacho vechidiki ka vatiri kuitira izvi isusu vamwe nenge takakura Zimbabwe ribo hatiunyebera young man ndakura Zimbabwe ribo kwedu kumakaradhi uko nenge standing there uko chine ese handivaiziya
pageto lapa mdara ukati mdara wangu used to tell me kuti isusu patakakura taikwanisa unotora maloans machichina mdara ni London oripiwa atoenda kuziloni wewe unopiwa ka $10 kana 9 wozonzi karibiwa ya 12 wombonobhaiza padeni zobatana momzomboti mwana wangu waita basa ini muri but it's a great feeling mdara kuona mubereki wako achiti mwanangu ndikufara kuti kuisa effort but zvisiri kubatana mdara. Because at the end of the day you can't tell her kuti moms pakashata because she never told me kuti pakashata ndaingodya every day.
Shame.
Vakaniendesa kuinvesti mdara. I appreciate those things. And saka I'm really when you talk about these things inini hangu in the event yakuti tanyatsorongeka nechinhu chedu ichi, I know that I will go to the streets because I want a better life. I want a better life for me, for you, for everyone. Everywhere I go, I always preach with guys. Let's not fight each other because our problem is also problem. You see the way even we treat ourselves. Like tokonoita pressure kupinda mushopka mekuti tokonongoita asingofaa utopinda tichi zviri orderly in an orderly manner but techingorwisana chete. We have shared the resources that we have to be selfless and atifane kuva selfish mudara. because iwe ukanochera pasi pesa vonochera kufamu redu riri kuchegutunda unoona makomba ega ezvinozvi makorokozi akutochera mufamu medu, but there's nothing we can do because vanouya nemabhemba vangovatarisa bo
shame.
all because vanhu vari kualawiwa kungoita illegal mining pese pese handiti. You go complain, mapurisa anongouya kubva kunyorera report. I think mafiles edu akazara munhare kungoripota kuti tana vanhu vanenge vachingoroma around mufamu vakani vachichera makomba, but we don't get anything. And so it's high time we have a change. And it opposition mdara is anyone who is against the current leadership iripo. Zvekuti anzi ruwachamisa ruwani, we don't want that at the moment. We want everyone, every Zimbabwean to participate, to be an active member of this thing so that we go forward. We have solutions. We make something of ourselves as a nation. And atifambe chita zvekunhanzi aburikirwa nembinga, kuburikirwa chini ndara when you can do things for yourself.
Thank you very much, young man. Thank you very much for inspiring words. You know what? You inspire us to keep on doing what we are doing in the hope we are good team. We meet young people, you know, like you who come, you know, on the platforms and you share your experiences. That was what I open up about what is you know what? The Gira Guaramira say more opportunities you know, and then and rise here. I watch say.
Yeah, thank
Uncle
you so
Jedo,
much
can I
for
just
your
say
time,
one
man.
thing?
Okay.
Uncle Jedo, can I just
Yes,
say,
yes.
can I just say
Yes,
one thing? I'm quite. This is just a message to the young man who are just speaking. Because look, I'm quite happy, man. This is the youth that we need, especially at our one point. But people need to understand, Guti, you can always work and get something for yourself than be given. So this is if young people understand this, then it's very important. That's why our government is failing to create that environment for these guys to get what they want and work for what they want. And they want to create this thing, just because one person and a Rolls Royce, one person, yet everyone can get the same vehicle, everyone can get the same house, a house by working. You know, this is a culture that has killed our country, because you get people getting into government, into councillors, into MPs, just to go and prove or get something that they failed to get because they can't work. You know what I mean? But anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Uncle G.
Thank you, Goman. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And you know,
Wow. Yeah, no,
this is
thank
excellent.
you. That was something. You know, we're used to kungona mfana vanhu ngoti mbinga like Java achiuya kuchitungiza akakwira, you know, pamotikari pake, and youth just relating, you know, to have, you know, just to have people, young people who can think like this is very positive and encouraging. To know that not everyone is just singing this mbinga and getting people actually wants to work for themselves. So quite inspiring. Thank you so much, young man.
Right. Yeah, Bagaiba. Yeah, yeah.
Uncle Jez, when is Mr. Bombshell going to give another press?
I'm pursuing, you know, those details. I'm pursuing, you know, those details. That was on this one. They'll get back to me when they get an answer. But I've been told, Kutizo, you might come and say something. You know, I think, you know, it is important, you know, that he does that, so that people, you know what, when people have done what, you know, they've done, you know, today, I think to him, as the person, you know, who's leading this thing, he should look at what has happened, you know, today, or look into the organization, get, you know, reflect on it, get a feedback on it, and then I mean, that reflection. And then if there's another strategy that they have, I think they can be in a position to be refining, that strategy, going forward. Because what today's event has simply shown me, right? Like what other people, say that by people staying in our way, and there's so many reasons why people have stayed away. Some folks might have stayed away because they just said, you know what, they don't want, to be involved, in anything. Some people stayed away because they didn't want kuti vamwe vangona kuzovarwa mukandwa zvimatigas, and stuff like that. And then koita vamwe vaita stay away waiting for a signal yekunzi we are meeting here, so that people would make their way there. So I think there's a lot that can be gotten from all this that they can use for planning any further or future action that they might want to plan, because there has to be now taking this up a certain up to a certain level now, to show kuti pane something ichiri sustained ichiri kuitika. Because there's a lot that is going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. So, Uncle, in terms of today, was it just the police and riot police? Did we have the army anyway? Was there reports of the army being in the streets anyway?
No, handira kunzwa maripoti earmy anga ari mustreets. Kana vanga varimo, I think ndazwa mumwe achiti kana vanga varimo, they didn't do anything. It was only the riot police.
All right.
Yeah, it was only the police and the riot police.
I think that's significant as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot that has happened today. Kuti vanogona kunyatsoongorora kuti chii chaitika nhasi and stuff like that, and then yoronga kuti they are because hapasina nenge going back up.
No,
there's no going back.
No, absolutely not.
Because going back, yeah. Zvongoitwa angeri zviri normal.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
There will be paging of people up.
I think it's the beginning. It's the beginning. This game is on.
Yeah, it's game on. Kana iwe varakasha ndimaona kuti izvo ningi makuseni vamuka vaine dzungu.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
In the morning.
Vamuka vaine dzungu kwete kutamba naro.
And business as usual.
Vazonyarara kuma 11 vazonyarara.
Vazonyarara. Because vaona kuti they cannot continue to be sustaining their business
Yes.
as usual, mantra.
Yes.
There's no way you can say business as usual when mashops akavhara, vanhu vanoenda kumabasa. It's like a ghost town. Huh? Hakuna ndizvakadaro. Right.
Maswera muchitaura ndisipo panapa.
Kumadhara manga muri kupi kwenyu?
Ndandiri pachipanera ndakakiiwa danger.
Inga makwikwi jeje.
Saka unoona chirega ndingopinda ipapa handobuda maya manje.
Pindai.
Handiri kuona kuti chimoto chato chaya so. Because ina hangu handitambi chesi. Asi ndonga goma yenu vanotamba chesi bedzi. Matauro andonzwa achita vanofanira vachitamba chesi. Vanogona kutsanangura inonzi checkmate kuti yakaita sei. Ndiri kufungidzira ndo yakarohwa naana GEZA kubvira pavakatanga kutaura. Handisi hangu kuti checkmate inoreva here kuti ukanzi checkmate waakutoda kupukutwa zvekutoenda kana kuti uri kutestwa capacity yako to the maximum. Handichatsoziva ipapo. Handichangoudza kuti checkmate. zvamuri kutotaura kuti ichi chachidzokereke mumashure ichokwadi, because kana waudza mutungamiri wenyika kuti uri mbavha, uri muroyi, unoba, wakauraya vanhu vakati nevakati, wakatora vakadzi vana nhingi, uri kupaza nyika zvakati zvikati, uri kufanira kubva pachigaro musi wakati panguva yakafanira chainenge ichinzi treason. Saka dai kuri kunzi death penalty ichiri kuapply muZimbabwe, unenge uri munhu wekutoti kana kuri kuatrai kudzokera mumashure ka unongosvika uchihakichwa, kana kuri kunzi wabatwa unongohakichwa umva watonzi chi uyo apanino inenge ichinzi nemabhanditi yakondemu akaiswa pakondemu. Saka chitsoro ichi hachidzokereke kumashure no matter what is happened today. Actually today is the beginning. Tichazoya tichikudzai zvakawanda kana tambopinda kumwe kwatechipinda kumaseri-seri kuti tinzwa zvinhu zvakamira sei, but tambotraya kutiona kuti tingambozungunutsa zvimwe zvinhu here. But mukanzwa paakudedzerwa kuti pari kudikwa tumafanzi-fanzi, panogona pachitodikwa tumafanzi-fanzi zveshuwa, because zvinhu zvinenge zvakatiomei mbichana paground. Saka nangoni ndingokanda ikako ndichazodzoka futi ndikaenda karinani. Handimazviona manje, ziyana inofamba maswera seiko naye angu Jet namufana wangu Niki Mofela Titus. Ngoma eni muri sei ipapa?
My brother from Kweru, uri sei zvako?
Hapo zvekuti mbovaudza kuti checkmate inorei ndinyatsoiziva nyatsovatsanangurira.
Iyi cheki hatisati tasvika pamiti, tichiri pacheki. Tingoona kuti response yacho yakamira sei, tamboti ga, tozowedzera futi kapressure mbichana.
Aiwa, andowazvona ndanjiziva kuti mukoma yena havambotadza kuziva kuti language yacho yakanyatsomira sei, andatenda chaizvo. Emai ndaakuziva kuti tiri pacheki. Ndeipi Magnavosh?
All right, thank you, Mofela. Magabata, any more details, please, we are mtizivise. Right, pana sunza roko Chido, child of Zim, child of Zim.
Thank you so much. Sorry, ndakudzoka ndakutora time from other people. But I wanted you to also look at the idea. The thing irikuitika ndeyekuti muri kuona the people on the streets vari kusenda videos. Are these not giving intel of my positions evanhu vasati vawanda here? Have you ever thought of that? Because it's a thought that I had. I'd actually noted it down, but then I forgot about it. I don't know. Is it safe that these videos are sent as soon as as soon as things are happening, or will they not be needed to be a delay effect to protect those who are on the ground? Thank you. I think that is all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Uncle, Titus. I just want to respond to my sister who just posed a question there. So delay effect drainating manje, my sister. Knowing our regime, if anything were to happen without pictorial or video impatience, they lie. So real-time item is good effect. It also protects the protesters. Because kana kuno kuma-first world countries panotoitwa live feed yezvinenge zvichitoitika. Just unfortunate kuti majournalist edu anofanira kunge achizviita izvozvo ndo vamwe vari kunzi vamwe vabatwa kuti nezo-central, but they're supposed to provide live feed so that we know what's on the ground, and in case of any casualties or anything that happens, we're able to see what is on the ground. So for purposes of the planning, information not to find out more via pictorial impression. It was going to be good. I would have seen a couple of drones that were going to be there
informing people on the ground, because the wind is coming from this side, the force is coming from this side. It was going to help the protesters on the ground. But what's there right now, let's work with what's on the ground, the home ground. So that's important. Information must be spread for us. If need be for assistance, we also throw in our options. The one on background. I'm sure that my response the one on background is not about that momentum it build. We also protect safety and shorter. So it's very important for us to continue with the updates, live impressions. Like you've seen, Anaso Film Coin, they're very influential people who have actually seen what's going on the ground, and reports like that spread out the word, and it will keep our motion quite solid.
You're right. No, thanks. Okay. Magneto.
Oh, Tito, David.
Oh, what did you say?
Which Ango Jet.
Say.
Bobo. I'll try to do a quick one. I've been here since morning, and I got and I've been with you. But in all this, here, listening to people talking and reflecting, there is one thing now I've got a problem with. And for me, that person is Nelson Chamisa. Where is he? I know people, supporters here, who might say, Chamisa has got nothing to do with this, he resigned, and so. But there are millions of people who are waiting for him. Do they know when he is coming back, or do they know whether he's going to come back? Tiriku creator another dictator in Chamisa with the way he's behaving. Why is he not in the trenches with the rest of the people? For me, in this case,
which people, Caesar?
Zimbabweans.
Who is in the trenches with Zimbabweans?
Those young boys who vangatipotsera matombo vaya iye zvoti kuona mavideos.
So
those people
you wanted
definitely
Chamisa kuti ave now achipotsera matombo?
No, I'm not saying he was supposed to be there. In this, even if I can go for even a supporting statement, which is non-incriminating, even I can go to, no, Mudara GEZA is talking, he's talking about bread and butter issues, which are affecting people. And I resonate with what he's saying. It's not incriminating. No one would come and arrest him, no, was support GEZA. But to people, he has given that message, no, he is talking my problems, Evan. But what did he do? I've got nothing to do with it. For me, he's that type of person, Oguti. I don't know where my options. If things go north, I'm not going to, no situation has quit. I'm not resign. I'm not coming back. But I'm going to go out, maybe things are nice now. The table has been set. Then what? I'm back. The behavior for me, which is showing and doing, I've got a problem with it. At this point in time, we don't want a leader or Guti. I know, for me, I've got a problem with that.
You're right.
He has to come out. If he is with the people, he has to talk to be with the people. And his sabbatical, he said, I'm on a sabbatical. How long is the sabbatical? It's more than a year now.
Why are we even talking about Chamisa right now?
No, when does Chibomira no. Please. Let me say what I want to say. I know you are a Chamisa supporter. Support him. But for me, I've got a problem with his behavior now. I might sound like Murakash, but I support Chamisa. I've voted for him. But his behavior for me now, in the struggle, with the way Zimbabweans are suffering, with the way people are suffering, and with the situation in Zimbabwe right now, and he keeps on behaving the way he's behaving, for me, it's a no. If you are a leader and he cares about the people, he has to come out and be on the side of the people. Now people, Chamisa is our leader. Chamisa is our leader. Who here can tell me Chamisa is going to come back and lead them? You don't know. He might not come back. And Mwendas, I know he's your leader.
Yeah.
Are you 100% sure that he's going to come back and lead you?
Okay,
You
let me
don't know.
answer you. First of all, you
No,
let me answer
no.
you.
Yeah, I don't want to.
No, you asked
I don't
you
want to
mentioned
answer
my
for
name.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, let me finish. Let me finish. Also, Pindura. Inini for me is that attitude here in the equity. Akazouya at even whatever time. The equity attitude here equity. Apana chinoitika kana ndisipo. If I'm not there, nothing is going to happen. We've got now a celebrity, political leader. Wokuti anoti angavamboita kana ndisipo apa. It's like my footballers. I've retired from international football. The rest of the guys, they do the donkey work. They qualify for AFCON. But no, now I'm coming out of retirement. This is exactly the behavior this guy is showing us. People can talk whatever they want to talk, but for me now, the way Chamisa is behaving, I've got a problem with
All
it.
right.
He has to come out.
Okay.
He has to come out. Yeah, he has to come out and be with the people.
Okay. All right,
Mob
Magneto.
Titus, with your
Right.
permission, Mob. 1 minute.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I think Magneto, he lies when he says Chamisa said he has got nothing to do with it. Chamisa said nobody talked to me, but Chamisa Wagati, my door is open for any discussion. So let's you see my doubts. Right now, the struggle is we want to go on the street, fight MNANGAGWA. Let in the background, you see, these leaders, they are not silly and stupid. Let's not try and force them. I know, Magneto, I understand what you're feeling. I'll feel the same way, but myself, I'll let the leader be. And the people as a people, we will make a decision when we get to that crossroads. So let's not try and now do a propaganda because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So I think right now let's concentrate on supporting people on the streets and take out MNANGAGWA. And then when we get there, you can always put your sentiments even to argue and say "Utwangoro kupi." We can talk about it later. But uyu munhu uyu ndati mbobvise chigandanga ichi. Thank you.
Tito, can I just say one thing, 30 seconds, then I land. Thank you, Mwendas Paneswa Wataura. I understand you and I hear you. Who is supposed to go to the people? The leader or Chamisa? Now he's saying my door is open. He wants people to go to him. That's the celebrity attitude. Let me, I was
No,
quiet
it's
when you're
not.
talking.
It's not.
Yeah, no, you were quiet. Let me talk. Who is supposed to wait for the people? Now the people are waiting for Chamisa to come and lead them. That's the celebrity attitude. It's Chamisa who is supposed to wait for the people, not the people waiting for him. And more than 1 million people who voted for him, waiting for Chamisa to come back. Who is he? What's so special about him? That's the celebrity attitude I'm against.
Right.
He has to come out to the
Until what
people.
I will see,
No,
support Chamisa.
no,
It's
no, no,
also,
no, no, no,
it's
no.
also we are still okay with our leader. So
Yeah, you say you. Even I'm
All
saying
right, Jens,
myself.
let's move on. Thank you. Owen Chari.
Thank you. Inini ndaenda kure Magneto uri murakashi. Utori palist yevanhu vakatowanda yevarakashi. So don't waste your time. Chamisa, he said he's on a sabbatical leave. You don't follow. Andi vanhu maprisa anga ari kuleave vakatumirwa mari vachinzi uyai. So kana imimi musingade kumusapota. Kana if he's quiet, let him lose all those millions. And those millions, let them go to a person they want to support. You cannot come here. We are talking about this today, the struggle of GEZA. That was not planned by Chamisa. We are rallying behind GEZA, who is coming from a ZANU-PF background, and we are supporting him. Irregardless of that, why do you want to bring Chamisa? Why do you want all this to change, suddenly change to be a Chamisa thing? We have no time for this. Let us rally behind GEZA. You, if you're able, and if you had capabilities, you could have allowed people, or you could have invited people or influenced people to be on the streets. Chamisa is not the only opposition leader in Zimbabwe. He's not the only one whose name was mentioned. Why didn't you talk of Monzora, Komich, Tendaibit? All those people were mentioned. Him, he has got a stand that he maintained. He was not talked to. He is not part of this. You want him to lie that I'm part of this. He's not part of it. We all know. He did not plan it. He doesn't even know. Kuganira, kuita kugamira padenga, dzungu, ndo rinoita vanhu vanoda kuti izvi ndini ndachiita ichi, haana kuchiita. Kana dai chaita successful or chakaita fail, he is not going to come and claim kuti ndini ndazvironga. Forget about him. Don't worry about Chamisa. He's there. He's seated. If you don't want to support him, if you don't want to vote for him next time, don't vote for him. He's not campaigning here. Let's not talk about Chamisa. You're wasting our time with Chamisa, not GEZA. Let's talk about, is it business as usual today? Can we go back and have an audit of what happened today? What should we improve next? Because this struggle did not stop today. Tomorrow we are going to wake up with this struggle. GEZA is going to come out to us and give us instructions. Ndo watiri kuteera GEZA. Zvamanje zvachamisa imbosiyanai nazvo. Aritori pasaidhi harisitaura zvachamisa panapa. Zvokuti Chiwenga chaita president imbosiyana nazvo, asiso zvatiri kutaura. Tiri kutaura nyaya yekubvisa MNANGAGWA first things first. Muda kuvhiya isati yamusati mabata. What kind of nonsense is this? Let's concentrate on what we are supposed to be concentrating. Right now, I want to invite people. Tomorrow it is Safa continue, Aluta continue, ameno tinotaura chinzichi, but mangwana ngati continue with this struggle. Ngatisaendei kuzvikoro, ngatisaendei kumabasa, chatochaya. Because if we backstep, we are going to risk some people. Tikasa these people through and through until we remove MNANGAGWA, there are people who are going to be killed. What kind of risk are you putting on Comrade GEZA? What kind of risk are you putting on people who've been arrested today? What kind of risk are you putting on even Zimbabweans who are there in Zimbabwe? Let's talk about progressive things. Why are we talking of the wrongs and the what? Who is supposed to do what? Panapa, Uncle GEZA, I'm sorry, Kuti Matukwa with that guy. I'm sorry on his behalf. Izvozvi we've got vanhu vanouya chisikoro akashapana pachikanganisa progress. You are not even concentrating and reprimanding people like that. You are talking of somebody Chamisa atori kumba kwake ane mhuri yake akatozvinyararira, yet pane vanhu vari paground vari mumatrenches vari kuaffectwa, vari kutukwa, vari kuitwa sei. Imi monyara muda kuprotecta munhu asipo. Let's talk about people who are in action today. Let's talk about people who are working. Pane vanhu vari kutipa ma-updates vari paground izvozvizvi. What do you want to do? What's your plan on what is happening currently? Forget about anyone who is not there. Hauverenge mbeva nemiswe. Ngativerenge mbeva dzatinadzo pano. Forget about people who are not here. Chamisa said he is not part of this. He will come at this time. Paakaenda kusabbatical leave, akauya ndiwakamutenda kusabbatical leave. Akaenda ega. He's going to come.
Owen, Magneto is not Muragashi, right? I think it's his. Yeah, he's not a Muragashi.
Arikurakasha. Nonsense.
Right.
Tito ndofunga munhu was ranting about my name for the past 10 minutes. I think I've got the right to respond. I'll be quick anyway.
I'm seeking any clarity from you. I did not seek any clarity from you. I did not ask you any question. I never asked you any question.
Aiyo akachari wangachitaura about me ndakanyarara. Why uri kuitira Chamisa hasha? I don't know. You are not Chamisa. You were ranting about me ndakanyarara.
His supporters.
No.
Please, can you take charge?
Nyarara ndipindurewo. Ya chinyarara ndipindure ndipo wamwe chance. One wanditi ndiri murakashi. For your own information, the host of this space knows my political history. Kango Jet. He can give you my political history. Not nonsense is all. And this kid Makuwa or what he is there is listening. He knows me personally. Titus knows me personally. Iso abva kutaura apo knows me personally. I've been in the trenches. Kubva ichiri MDC. Kwete zvamazobatira pamusoro zviya triple C.
Usanyebewe Magneto.
Yeah, yeah,
Wangori matrench ku
yeah.
nduze one trench
Aiwa Owen chimbomira kana
iwe
chimbomira
Magneto
Owen.
No,
sarega
listen.
kupemberana ngasi
No,
ini
no.
ndiri mutrench wangori mutrench ipi.
All right, guys. Okay, okay. All right, guys. We need it to be. We need to continue for it to be a progressive space. I think you've done your submissions, Mataura. I think we need to move. We need to continue, get other speakers to speak, because otherwise, if we start going the back and forth here, Tinoita derail the space, which we don't want to. Yes. So let's please let's agree to move on. I think you've all said your points. Let's just leave it there. So I think Dr. Ian, if you can come through.
Thanks, Titus. I think the discourse, in as much as it was, how do I call it, unstructured, it is valuable in a sense. Kanachiti is also, this is a Zimbabwean thing. I also want to extend the question, Kutiko, Iwa Vacho ZANU-PF also don't agree with the many things that their own party is doing. Why are they silent? It's very inspiring, Kanatichiwona, right on the ground, where Chita put themselves on the line the way that they are. I mean, you look at the tone that GEZA has taken, very confrontational. Somebody commented, Kuti, in a normal case, if that was opposition, would have had that person arraigned for treason. And yet you see that it should at least have inspired those that are even from that party as well. But instead, Uncle GEZA, some state capturing businessmen are now being sworn into high levels of the party itself, just to simply extend that notion of capture. So the same sword that is being swung in the direction of opposition can be swung right back at ZANU-PF, and consequently all the other formations are repo. But what we must say is we must congratulate those who are on the ground. But okwanisa kumove the dial. They've moved the dial of adding pressure to the status quo. It actually can be done, and can be done without how do you call it, a structured, formed political organization, just simply done from the space of passionate Zimbabweans that want to see a shift and a change in the country. So with one part, I think, Kutichi, it's good that we have the discourse, but let's not let it degenerate rather to a point in different directions. At the end of the day, Tese, this thing is successful. Why is it important? It is important for the power to be restored back to the citizenry. It's important for the government to acknowledge that ultimately it is there in service of the citizen. It is important to acknowledge, for government to acknowledge that the citizen itself, individually and collectively, have the power and the right to bring the economy to a standstill on pertinent issues that it has decided to ignore, including, bastardizing our constitution to the point of, talking beyond the limited terms of 2 for a president. And I think that statement on its own, that has been made very loudly and clearly and is continuing to be made, is a very important one. It's a very important one. So in a sense, I agree. Focus in but at the same time, let's not get too emotional about issues when somebody discusses or brings up a point we don't agree with. No, quit a mature discourse. Yeah, fine, I disagree with you, but that's your opinion. This one is mine. Let's continue. Centrally, what we want to do is we want to actually have change. So yes, I agree. Owen kuti hakuna munhu anotanga kuvhiya asati abata. But there's nothing wrong with discussing kuti uchazoivhiya sei kana wazoibata, because consequentially we have a situation where we are focused on MNANGAGWA, and if presume that the action actually achieves not only the dropping of the MNANGAGWA 2030, but the actual immediate resignation. Constitutionally, what that means is that we have the VP who then becomes the president. And that is a reality that at some point in time needs to enter into the conscience of all of us. You know, takamanyira tikabvisa Mugabe, tapedza takazotadza kufunga kuti tinozoivhiya sei, and a lot of things and a lot of people's expectations you know, fell to the ground after that process. So it doesn't hurt really to have that perspective as well. I think Ndopasi Papo Titus, thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you for that. Right. Nino, have you spoken?
Komayele Morisei.
Nino.
Taura Mdara, thank you so much. Taura.
All right. Kanawa Moresana, you can go ahead. Nino.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Mdara. I don't have much to say, guys. I just wanted to say I am very happy because it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Hazvina basa kuti zviri kubva kunani, whether zvabva kuna zviri kubva kuna GEZA, zviri kubva kunani, hazvina basa. But at least someone decided to take a stand and say, let's change the way things are in the country. Yes, we know kuti GEZA is a munhu wezano, tozviziva, hatirambi. But there was no one who was brave enough or ane that following or ane chiremerera chokuti angakwanisa kugadha vanhu kuti aite zvinhu zvakadaro. It just doesn't take any ordinary citizen kuti ukwanise kuita zvinhu zvakadai so it's a good thing. It's a good thing for Zimbabwe. It's a good thing for everyone concerned, because we cannot get to a point, guys, when you look at the lifestyle of certain individuals, Nika is literally being run by not more than 100 people. And they are doing it for their families. There's ordinary citizens that are on the ground, vanevana, Murunza, vanevana, and those guys, they are not even going to leave a legacy for their kids. They've never worked a day in their life. But you get vanhu vakaita sana week nochivayo, vanokwanisa kutengera vanhu mota. Even the most vanhu vane mabhillion out there, vane mabhillion, vanhu vane mari inoenda kure, hausati wambonzwa vachinzi vanotengera vanhu mota vachipa vanhu zvinhu for free. It shows you it's not money that he has worked hard for. Haisi mari yashandi igwayo. Most of the people vari kumusha, guys, if we speak the truth, even vamwe space panapa, you've got nothing yaungakwanisa kusiyira vanhu vako kuti my kids, this is what I've worked for. Kana ndazofawo mosara muchigara panapa, mosara muchitora chakati. People are suffering as we are speaking. Nekuda kwe only those few people. It can't be business as usual, vanhu vachitambura so, guys. It can't. It can't. We cannot allow this. In different spaces, GEZA, it takes GEZA kuti chiye mudhara mukuru akadaro. Aiwa, wangochida kuti ani azviite. Iwo kana wanga uchizvikwanisa, why didn't you do it? Wanga uchitogera kuzviita iwo kana wanga uchizvikwanisa. We cannot continue as if it's business as usual. People are suffering. Kana pane aripo paspace panapa vanogona kupupura. Kunoku kwandiri kunoku paMidrand panapa nditi. Pane area inonzi Sunridge, kana pane aripo ari anogara padhuze neakambosvika apo. Pane roundabout iripo uchinda paPick and Pay apa. Ndikakuudzai kuti 98% vanhu vanomira paroundabout ipopo, it's Zimbabwean women. It's sad. It's sad. Zvinonyadzisa. It's embarrassing. and then isusu toda kuuya panapa tichiita vanhu vanoda kuita maego avo kuti ave feel bruised or whatever.
You mean
We can-
vanoita prostitution?
aiwa not vanoita prostitution, madzimai vana gogo vari kutsvaga basa rekuti vanocleana maapartments. Kwakazara maapartments pano pamidrand vachinokumbira kuti vaone maapartments kuti vabhadha kwema250.
Right.
Gova unonyatsokuona mudhara wangu kuti ava ndimbuya vanofanirwa kunge vakagara vari paretirement vachichengetwa nevazukuru. It's sad. You get people, they've a lot of people vane mamillion vanachivayo vachingoita zvinhu zvechipostori muchitisa zoti isusu tiri mabaransi, imimi ndimakablessiwa too much naMwari, but knowing very well kuti imimi muri kuita corruption, you are doing the wrong things. We've got a small number of people that are running that country.